Full of anticipation for his wedding anniversary party, he was unexpectedly pushed from the cruise ship into the river. Caught off guard, Suzie, the #1 prosecutor in Xinjiang City, died just like that. 1 week later, in a certain hospital, a girl lay in a hospital bed. Her mother wept heartbrokenly, worried about her injuries. Meanwhile, the day Suzie kept wondering who killed him. His loving husband had meticulously prepared a luxurious yacht for their anniversary. Just moments before, his life had been happy and fulfilling. The next second, he died in suffocating, desperate pain. His body, ravaged and swallowed by fish, was left riddled with holes. The irony was that none of his beloved and trusted friends and loved ones claimed his body, leaving him to sleep in the boundless abyss of darkness. He was unwilling, so unwilling. Just then, he suddenly felt his hand being tightly gripped. He also heard his mother's voice, "Wake up, don't leave your mother alone." His consciousness hazy, he found it strange to hear his mother's voice. His mother had died when he was very young. Why could he hear her? Am I dead too, he thought. But he didn't want to die. He was the best female prosecutor in Xinjiang, having helped countless people. He vowed he wouldn't allow himself to die booming bubaida like this. He desperately wished for a second chance at life. He prayed continuously in his heart, hoping God would give him another opportunity. He would make all those who betrayed him pay the price. He would find his killer at all costs. At this moment, his mother was overjoyed, feeling her daughter's hand gripping hers tightly. Overwhelmed with joy, she cried, "Zizi, you're awake." Suzie opened her blurry eyes. Suzie's heart was filled with confusion. He didn't know where he was, but he recognized the woman in front of him who called herself his mother. This woman was by way Old Master Mu's last companion. After Old Master Mu's death, she was ostracized and bullied by the Mu family and lived alone in the back garden with her adopted daughter, Suzie. Although she was technically his mother-in-law, they had never interacted. Hearing the woman call herself Mom and call him Zizi, a thought formed in his mind. Seeing the patient information posted on the wall, he finally confirmed it. He had been reborn into the body of 16-year-old Suzie. In disbelief, he sat up abruptly. His mother, worried he might hurt himself, rushed to his side. He looked at his hands. They were truly Suzie's hands. As a legal professional and an atheist, he couldn't believe this was happening to him. He knew he was reborn, but he didn't know where the original Suzie had gone. He had been pushed into the river at his wedding anniversary party and died in despair and pain. His body, ravaged and bitten by fish, was left riddled with holes. Yet, none of his friends or family claimed his body. Filled with resentment and unwillingness, he prayed to God for another chance. God had mercy on him and allowed him to be reborn into the body of 16-year-old Suzie, just as the atheist in him was filled with confusion. Suzie's older brother, Mu Rongqing, the fourth young master of the Mu family and Suzie's former brother-in-law, came to see his sister. He teased her upon arrival. "Oh, you didn't die? Attempted suicide over a man? You're really something, Suzie." Suzie was stunned. He hadn't realized Suzie had committed suicide, and he had been reborn into her body. His mother scolded her son, "Your sister just woke up. Can't you say something nice?" Mu Rongqing then asked his sister, "Do you want that scumbag's leg or his arm? I'll tie a bow on it and send it to you." His mother was exasperated with her son. Still processing his rebirth, Suzie didn't answer. Since God had given him this second chance, he had to cherish it. Thinking he was angry at his brother, his mother held his hand and comforted him. She told him that his brother was just tough on the outside, but actually cared deeply for him. It was his brother who had brought him to the hospital. She said she would make his brother apologize later. But Mu Rongqing told his mother to stop dreaming. Suzie didn't dare let Mu Rongqing apologize. He didn't want to die again right after coming back to life. He quickly waved his hand and said, "No, Aunt Bai, it's okay." Fourth young master was joking. He didn't realize that calling her Aunt Bai and fourth young master had aroused his brother's suspicion. Suzie's prosecutor instincts kicked in, completely oblivious to his slip-up. He was still thinking, this guy pretends to be a useless playboy, but he's actually the most dangerous person in the Mu family. I finally found some clues that the Mu family's misfortunes in recent years might be related to him, but I died before I could tell anyone. Mu Rongqing stared at him intently. This is interesting, he thought. At this point, Suzie just wanted to stay as far away from this man as possible. Unfortunately, the opposite happened. They got closer. Mu Rongqing leaned in and asked, "You called me fourth young master." Suzie finally realized that he had inadvertently used Suzie's previous way of addressing him. His mother panicked. Oh no. Zizi, did you lose your memory from the injury?" Suzie could only laugh awkwardly, finding a lame excuse. Perhaps due to excessive blood loss, she had momentarily become confused and called him the wrong name. But fourth young master Mu Rongqing didn't believe her. Her complexion was rosy and vibrant. The girl was pushed into the river, her body gnawed and riddled with holes by rigid fish. An intense unwillingness to die allowed her to be reborn into the body of a 16-year-old girl. Unexpectedly, the first thing she did after being reborn was to attend her own funeral. But today was already 10 days after her death. It was her devoted husband who refused to believe she was dead and wouldn't hold a funeral. His motive: the land was worth 1 million per square meter. At the funeral, her husband appeared heartbroken and grief-stricken. But when reporters asked him why Suzie, the hostess of the party, was alone on the deck, he burst into tears. He didn't know the reason. They had agreed to cut the cake in the yacht's main hall at the appointed time. He didn't know why she went to the deck alone, where she accidentally fell into the water and unfortunately died. The onlookers couldn't help but sigh at Suzie's bad luck and pity third young Master Mu. Suzie involuntarily stepped forward. Seeing her husband's response in the news, she felt incredibly disgusted. She didn't understand why her husband would say that. At that moment, third young Master Mu fainted from grief. Since her passing, third young Master Mu hadn't slept or rested. This deep affection moved everyone deeply. The audience couldn't help but wish that Suzie hadn't died, that she hadn't fallen into the water. Suzie, the one actually involved, suffered in silence. Asterisk, you've all been deceived. It wasn't an accidental fall. Asterisk. Someone had deliberately followed her to the deck and pushed her. The reason she went to the deck was because she received a text message from her devoted husband. He told her to go to the deck in 5 minutes. He had a surprise for her. Suzie guessed that Mu Gongning was lying because he was afraid of causing more trouble and arousing police suspicion. But she felt it wasn't that simple. Now that she was alive again, she decided that this secret absolutely couldn't be known by anyone, not even her once most trusted husband. The next second, a trolley almost hit her. At the critical moment, a pair of hands grabbed her waist and forcefully pushed her against the wall. It was her original body's brother, Mu Rongqing. She was inwardly annoyed that he had interfered. With her own skills, she could have elegantly avoided the danger, but she could only express her gratitude. Brother, if it weren't for you, weak, helpless, and pitiful me would be lying in the morgue right now. Her brother replied, having self-awareness is your only virtue. At this moment, Suzie just wanted to get rid of this plague god quickly. Without waiting for his response, she quickly slipped away. The girl, Muzi, committed suicide for a lying cheat. Suzie, who died from being eaten by fish, happened to be reborn into her body. Having just been saved by her brother, she only wanted to stay away from this scheming man. But Mu Rongqing thought she wanted to go find that cheat again. Suzie thought he had seen her looking at Mu Zhenning earlier and guessed something. After all, he was the unscrupulous Mu Rongqing. Her brother questioned her. What's with that expression? It's only been 3 days. Have you forgotten the scumbag who committed suicide by slitting his wrists? Suzie then learned that the original Muzi had committed suicide by slitting her wrists. And her brother had even specifically sought out the scumbag for a heart-to-heart, making him realize that his behavior of flirting with any girl he met was wrong. The consequence of this heart-to-heart was that the tough guy ended up in the ICU. Learning that this was what he was referring to, Suzie finally relaxed. And Mu Rongqing then realized that his sister had already forgotten the guy. Mu Rongqing stepped closer and pinched his sister's chin. He felt that his sister had become somewhat different since this hospitalization. Suzie immediately became incredibly nervous, her hands involuntarily clenching her skirt. Her personality was different from Muzi's. She was afraid of arousing this man's suspicion. So she instantly transformed into a weak, delicate little thing, deploying the universal, foolproof rebirth tactic, amnesia. But what Suzie didn't know was that amnesia would further arouse the man's suspicion. She brushed his hand away, suggesting they give each other some time to adjust. Then she quickly slipped away. Mu Rongqing didn't expect such a coincidence. Muzi had also lost her memory. Just now, he had gone to see Su Shirhan, whom he had saved 3 days prior, and she had also lost her memory. She didn't remember anything at all. The woman didn't believe he was her boyfriend, but he firmly told her that he was her boyfriend and that he would take good care of her from now on and not let anyone bully her again. But the woman felt that it was all too unreal, like a dream. Mu Rongqing didn't understand why the woman didn't remember and why her personality had become so fragile. This woman, from head to toe, didn't resemble Suzie in any way. He didn't know where the Suzie he had actually intended to save had gone. Having just returned to the company, he immediately had someone look for old Ghost Huang. But that sly old man, knowing that something went wrong with his soul transfer, secretly slipped away. To this day, no one could find him. And Mu Rongqing has now completely confirmed that it's not Suzie's soul in Su Shihan's body. She doesn't like to eat dragon fruit, likes to cry, and has no opinions of her own. Su Shihan doesn't have a trace of Suzie in her. Even if someone loses their memory, they can't change so completely, unless they are two different people entirely. Su Shihan is the most suitable bride for Suzie. Finding someone who performed a ritual at the same time as old Ghost Huang and experienced an unexpected outcome is incredibly difficult. But Mu Rongqing couldn't care less. He ordered everyone to go out and search. Even if it means exposing his identity, as long as he can revive Suzie, he's willing to pay any price. He absolutely cannot bear to lose Suzie again. Even if he has to chase her to the ends of the earth, he must find her and make her his wife. The girl was framed, fell into the river, and was eaten by fish. Fortunately, her brother-in-law hired someone to cast a spell to bring her back to life. Suzie never imagined that the first thing she would do upon returning to the Mu family would be to offer incense to herself. She said goodbye to her former identity in her heart. Rest in peace, Suzie. From today onwards, she is Muzi. She will live a good life as Muzi and find the real culprit who killed Suzie. Her mother worried about her health and told her to go home and rest. But just as she was about to return to the villa, she saw an unexpected person, Xiao Jingjia, her assistant from the prosecutor's office. Suzie didn't understand why he would appear at the Mu family home, and what he was holding were her work documents. Why would the Mu family let him into her study alone? And the direction Xiao Jingjia was going was towards Mu Zenning's small study. Filled with doubts, she decided to follow him. Mu Zenning's small study was his private space. As his wife, she wouldn't have casually pushed the door open and gone in before. But how could Xiao Jingjia be there now? She leaned against the wall, eavesdropping and peeking. It turned out that Mu Zenning, in his small study, was consumed with grief over her death, and Xiao Jingjia was trying to console him, even taking the alcohol from his hand, that Suzi's death was an accident. You didn't do anything wrong. Don't blame yourself anymore, Zenning. But Mu Zenning couldn't help but blame himself. Not only had he failed to protect her, he couldn't even retrieve her body after her death. Whenever he thought of Suzi's body, still lying somewhere at the bottom of the cold water, he felt immense pain. Xiao Jingjia inconspicuously moved closer to him. He told him that Suzie committed suicide for him. But these words startled the listener. That I committed suicide? For Mu Zenning. Mu Zenning also didn't believe that Suzie would commit suicide, so he could receive her life insurance money and help the Mu Corporation overcome its bankruptcy crisis. Xiao Jingjia claimed that Suzie had offended many dangerous people through her work and had taken out a huge life insurance policy for herself. And she couldn't bear to see his years of hard work go to waste, so she deliberately staged her own accidental fall. These words immediately stunned the two men. Mu Zenning couldn't believe Suzie was so foolish. Xiao Jingjia's lips curled into a slight smile. He believed it. He sat beside Mu Zenning, comforting him and telling him not to be too sad. The most important thing now was to get Suzi's huge insurance payout and help the Mu Corporation recover for the sake of her spirit. But Mu Zenning still couldn't believe his wife would do such a thing. But Xiao Jingjia told him that he was her best friend and understood her best, and that she would definitely do this. Outside the door, Suzie slammed her fist against the wall. Xiao Jingjia, who's your best friend? This woman was just an ordinary assistant at her work, nothing more. After 3 years, she still couldn't become a prosecutor. Her professional skills were a complete mess. But today, she finally understood this woman's true motives. And Mu Zenning, that idiot, actually believed her words. Suzie had always been straightforward in her life. Even if she hit a wall, she would never turn back. She would never do something like commit suicide. Only a pig would believe that. She didn't know when it happened, but she was actually brought to tears by this despicable pair. She wiped away her tears and consoled herself. She couldn't cry. She couldn't be affected by this despicable pair. She still had so many things to do. Her wife died unexpectedly, but her husband was tearing up with another woman in the funeral hall. The reborn wife eavesdropped and discovered that she actually had a huge life insurance policy. Suzie was brought to tears by this despicable pair. Just then, a female voice came from behind her. "Isn't that the ugly freak, Muzi? What are you sneaking around here for?" It was the two daughters of Mu Rongxuan, the head of the Mu family. The younger sister, Mu Lin, said unkindly that she was ugly. The older sister knew that Mu Zi was technically their elder and should be treated with respect. But Mu Lin believed that this lowly adopted daughter didn't deserve their respect. Mu Lin didn't understand what was going on with this ugly freak. In her impression, she had always been gloomy, but now she seemed different, with her own natural filter and teenage beauty. The Mu sisters thought she had undergone plastic surgery at the hospital. Now, aside from a slightly straighter nose, bigger eyes, a lack of bust, a more fashionable hairstyle, and the air of a true heiress, she looked no different than before. Suzie wouldn't take the insult lying down. She immediately retorted, "You ugly freak. You dare to treat me like this? Didn't your father teach you any manners?" Mu Lin thought this lowly adopted sister was actually going to complain to their father. Furious, he raised his hand to hit Suzie. Today, he was determined to teach this wild child a lesson. But Suzie wasn't one to be trifled with. She quickly dodged the slap. Not only did Mu Lin miss, but he also fell flat on his face. Getting up, Mu Lin felt blood flowing. His sister, not helping matters, told him he might be disfigured. Hearing the commotion, Mu Zining came out. Without asking for an explanation, he immediately started blaming Suzie. Suzie never expected their reunion to be like this. He knew this was a memorial service, yet he was still flirting with Qiao Jingjia. She could only explain Mu Lin started it. He tried to hit me and fell himself. You believe whatever anyone says without knowing the truth. No wonder the Mu family business went bankrupt so easily. Mu Zining finally understood what happened and apologized to Suzie. Although Suzie wasn't wrong, the Mu family had already used her exorbitant insurance payout to fill the hole in their finances. Mu Zining clenched his fists in anger. Suzie provoked him like this, hoping he would lose his temper. People are most vulnerable when they're angry. She wanted to know if Mu Zining truly was as clueless about the insurance money as he pretended to be in the study. The next moment, Qiao Jingjia appeared, urging Mu Zining not to get angry. She reminded him that the insurance policy had a confidentiality clause and shouldn't be discussed publicly. Mu Zining realized he'd been careless. Suzie hadn't expected Qiao Jingjia to be so alert, not letting anything slip even in front of an insignificant person like Mu Zi. Qiao Jingjia told Suzie not to believe the gossip reporters. Suzie had no patience for the person who betrayed her. She immediately brushed his hand away. The Mu family's affairs are none of your business. Qiao Jingjia, bursting into tears, left. Only after her death did Suzie, a prosecutor, discover that her insignificant assistant, Qiao Jingjia, had not only secretly taken out a huge life insurance policy on her, but had also secretly seduced her husband, posing as a friend. Perhaps Qiao Jingjia, resentful for never being promoted to a full prosecutor due to her incompetence, sought revenge. On their wedding anniversary, Suzie had a drink given to her by her assistant. She felt dizzy afterward, but assumed she was just drunk. Now, looking back, she suspected the drink was drugged. Suzie strongly suspected Qiao Jingjia was responsible for her death. Was her husband in on it, or was he also deceived? Just then, Mu Zining received a call from Qiao Jingjia. Their conversation was familiar and natural, but Suzie, his wife, had no idea when they had become so close. The next moment, she was even more shocked. Mu Zining gave Qiao Jingjia his beloved pink Hummer, telling her she could keep it. Qiao Jingjia, already in the car, was driving it while making the call. Suzie was furious. She couldn't believe Mu Zining had so casually given her most prized possession to Qiao Jingjia. Overcome with anger, she bumped into him. Mu Zining claimed he wasn't feeling well and went back to rest. After hanging up, Qiao Jingjia, overjoyed, ripped off the car's hanging ornament and threw it away. She would take good care of Suzie's car, her career, and her man. She would take good care of everything that once belonged to Suzie. Back home, Suzie dreamed of the yacht party. Qiao Jingjia and Mu Zining, already having an affair, pretended not to know each other well in front of her. She asked her mother if she knew Qiao Jingjia. Her mother told her that Qiao Jingjia had always presented herself as Suzie's friend, often picking up work materials for her. After her death, Qiao Jingjia had also helped with the arrangements. The irony was that the entire Mu family knew, except for her. She had installed surveillance cameras in the study at the Mu residence. She should be able to find some clues there. Taking advantage of dinner time, she quietly went to the study. But when she entered, the camera mount was empty. The yacht was still there the day before the party. This means it was taken after he died, but he doesn't know who took it. Was it the surveillance camera? Did it record something he didn't want anyone to see? And his study had been ransacked. Drawers, bookshelves, storage boxes. Xiao Jingjia must have been looking for something. He remembered overhearing Xiao Jingjia asking Mu Zening to help her find a purple, rabbit-shaped flash drive. And Xiao Jingjia would never have guessed he'd hidden the flash drive. Suzie took the flash drive out of her hand. Although he didn't know why Xiao Jingjia wanted his work flash drive, he took it first. No matter what Xiao Jingjia wanted to get, he wouldn't let her succeed. Full of hope, he was pushed into the Xinjiang River from the cruise ship during his wedding anniversary party. Caught off guard, Suzie, the first prosecutor of Xinjiang City, died just like that. A week later, a girl lay in a hospital bed. Her mother worried about her injuries and wept heartbrokenly. In a daze, Suzie kept wondering who killed him. His loving husband had meticulously prepared a luxurious yacht for their anniversary. Just moments before, his life had been happy and fulfilling. The next second, he died in suffocating, desperate pain. His body was ravaged, gnawed, and swallowed by fish, bitten full of holes. The ridiculous thing was, none of those loved ones and friends he had deeply trusted retrieved his body. They let him sleep in the boundless abyss of darkness. He was unwilling, so unwilling. Just then, he suddenly felt his hand being tightly gripped. He also heard his mother's voice, "Zizi, wake up. Don't leave your mother alone." His consciousness hazy, he found it strange, mother. But his mother had died when he was very young. Why could he hear her voice? Am I dead too? But he didn't want to die. He was the best female prosecutor in Xinjiang. He had helped countless people. His principals told him he absolutely could not allow himself to die. He desperately wished he could live again. He prayed continuously in his heart, hoping God would give him another chance. He would make all those who betrayed him pay the price. He would find his killer at all costs. At this moment, his mother was overjoyed because she felt her daughter's hand gripping hers tightly. She called out excitedly, "Zizi, you're awake." Suzie opened her hazy eyes. At this moment, his heart was filled with confusion. He didn't know where he was, but he recognized the woman in front of him who called herself Mother. This woman was Bai Wei, Old Master Mu's last companion. After Old Master Mu passed away, Bai Wei was ostracized and bullied by the Mu family. She lived alone in the back garden with her adopted daughter, Muzi. Although she was technically his mother-in-law, they had never interacted. Hearing the woman call herself Mother and call him Zizi, a thought formed in his mind. Until he saw the patient information posted on the wall, he finally confirmed it. He had been reborn into the body of 16-year-old Muzi. He sat up abruptly in disbelief. His mother worried that his sudden movement would be dangerous. He looked at his hands. They were truly Muzi's hands. As a legal professional and an atheist, he couldn't believe this was happening to him. He knew he had been reborn, but he didn't know where the original Muzi had gone. Just as he, an atheist, was filled with confusion. Muzi's brother, the original Suzie's brother-in-law, Mu Rongqing, the fourth young master of the Mu family, came to see his sister. As soon as he arrived, he teased his sister, "Yo, you didn't die? Attempted suicide by slitting your wrists for a man? Muzi, you're really something." Suzie was stunned. He hadn't expected Muzi to have committed suicide, and he had just been reborn into her body. His mother scolded her son, "Your sister just woke up. Can't you say something nice?" as her older brother. Then Mu Rongqing asked his sister, "Do you want that scumbag's leg or his arm? I'll tie a bow on it and send it to him." His mother really didn't know what to do with her son. Suzie was still thinking about his rebirth and didn't answer. Heaven had given him this chance again, and he had to cherish it. His mother thought he was angry with his brother and held his hand to comfort him. She told him that his brother was just tough on the outside, but soft on the inside, and that he actually cared a lot about his sister. It was his brother who had brought her to the hospital to be saved. His mother said she would make his brother apologize later. But Mu Rongqing told his mother to stop dreaming. Suzie wouldn't dare make Mu Rongqing apologize to him. He didn't want to die again right after coming back to life. So he quickly waved his hand and spoke up to stop them. "Hey, Aunt Bai, no need." Mu Rongqing was joking. He didn't realize that calling her Aunt Bai aroused his brother's suspicion, and the former prosecutor Suzie's occupational habits kicked in. He didn't realize he'd let something slip. He was still thinking, asterisk, this guy pretends to be a good-for-nothing playboy, but he's actually the most terrifying and ruthless one in the Mu family. I finally managed to uncover some clues. The changes in the Mu family these past few years might be related to him, but I died before I could tell anyone, asterisk, and his brother stared at him. Mu Rongqing sighed. This is really interesting. At this moment, Suzie just wanted to get as far away from this person as possible. But things didn't go as planned. They got even closer because Mu Rongqing personally approached him and asked, "You called me Mu Si Xiao?" Only then did Suzie react. He hadn't been paying attention and had actually used Suzie's previous way of addressing him. His mother was extremely anxious beside him. Oh no, oh no. Zizi couldn't have lost her memory from the injury, could she? Suzie could only laugh awkwardly and find a lame excuse. Maybe it's the blood loss. I was confused and called you the wrong thing. But Mu Rongqing didn't believe him. You clearly have a rosy complexion and look full of energy. The girl was pushed into the river. Her body was riddled with holes, gnawed by stiff fish. Intense unwillingness allowed her to be reborn into the body of a 16-year-old girl. What she never expected was that the first thing she did after being reborn was attend her own funeral. But today was already 10 days after her death. It was her devoted husband, Mu Zinning, who refused to believe she was dead and wouldn't hold a funeral. His goal, 1 square meter costs 1 million. At the funeral, her husband was deeply affectionate and in utter despair. But when reporters asked him why Suzie, the hostess of the party, was alone on the deck, he burst into tears. He didn't know the reason. They had originally agreed to cut the cake in the yacht's main hall at the appointed time. He didn't know why she went to the deck alone, where she accidentally fell into the water and unfortunately died. The onlookers couldn't help but sigh at Suzie's bad luck and how pitiful Mu Zinning was. Suzie involuntarily walked forward. Seeing her husband's answer in the news, she felt it was very wrong. She didn't know why her husband would lie. At this moment, Mu Zinning fainted from grief. Since her death, Mu Zinning hadn't slept or rested. This deep affection was incredibly moving. The audience couldn't help but sigh. If only Suzie hadn't died. If only she hadn't fallen into the water. Suzie, the person involved, suffered in silence that you've all been deceived. It wasn't an accidental fall at all. Someone had premeditatedly followed her to the deck and pushed her down. And the reason she went to the deck was because she received a text message from her loving husband. It told her to go to the deck in 5 minutes. There was a surprise for her. Suzie guessed that Mu Zinning's reason for lying was to avoid raising suspicions and attracting police attention. But she felt it wasn't that simple. Now, she decided that the secret of her being alive absolutely couldn't be known by anyone, not even her once most trusted husband. The very next second, a cart was about to hit her. In the moment of crisis, a pair of hands grabbed her waist and forcefully pushed her against the wall. It was her older brother, Mu Rongqing. She was very annoyed. He was meddling. With her skills, she could have elegantly avoided the danger, but she could only express her gratitude. Brother, if it weren't for you, weak, helpless, and pitiful me would be lying in the morgue right now. Mu Rongqing replied, having self-awareness is your only virtue, sister. At this moment, Suzie just wanted to get rid of this plague. Without waiting for her brother's reaction, she quickly slipped away. But Mu Rongqing thought she wanted to go find that liar again. Suzie thought he had seen her looking at Mu Zinning earlier and guessed something. After all, he was the unscrupulous Mu Rongqing. Her brother questioned her, "What's with that expression? It's only been 3 days, and you've already forgotten the scumbag who drove your sister to suicide." Only then did Suzie realize that the original Mu Zi had committed suicide because of a scumbag, and her brother had even specifically sought out the scumbag for a heart-to-heart, making him realize that his behavior of flirting with every girl he saw was wrong. The consequence of this heart-to-heart was that the guy ended up in the ICU. Learning that he was talking about this matter, Suzie was relieved. And only then did Mu Rongqing realize that his sister had already forgotten the guy. Mu Rongqing stepped forward and pinched his sister's chin. "Why do I feel like you've changed a bit since this hospitalization?" Suzie became incredibly nervous, her hands involuntarily clenching her skirt. Her personality was different from Mu Zi's, and she was afraid of arousing this man's suspicion. So, she instantly transformed into a weak, delicate little thing and directly deployed the all-purpose magic weapon of amnesia, a permanent solution. But what Suzie didn't know was that amnesia would further arouse the man's suspicion. She brushed his hand away. "Let's give each other some time to slowly adapt." Then she quickly slipped away. Mu Rongqing didn't expect such a coincidence. Muzi had also lost her memory. He had just gone to see Su Shihan, the woman he had saved 3 days prior. She also had amnesia and didn't remember anything. She didn't believe he was her boyfriend, but he firmly told her, "I am your boyfriend. I will take good care of you from now on and won't let anyone bully you again." But Su Shihan felt that everything was too unreal, like a dream. Mu Rongqing didn't know why she didn't remember and why her personality had become so fragile. This woman, from head to toe, doesn't have a single habit like Suzie's. She doesn't know where the Suzie she's actually trying to save is gone. As soon as she returned to the company, she immediately had people look for old Ghost Huang. But that cunning old man, knowing that his soul-transferring ritual had gone wrong, secretly slipped away. To this day, no one can find him. And Mu Rongqing has now completely confirmed that it's not Suzie's soul inside Su Shihan's body. She doesn't like to eat dragon fruit. She's always crying, and she has no initiative whatsoever. There's not a trace of Suzie in Su Shihan's body. Even with amnesia, a person couldn't change this drastically, unless they are two completely different people. Su Shihan is the most suitable marriage prospect for Suzie. Finding someone who performed a ritual at the same time as old Ghost Huang and also experienced an unexpected outcome is incredibly difficult. But Mu Rongqing couldn't care less. He ordered everyone to go out and search. Even if it means exposing his identity, as long as he can revive Suzie, he's willing to pay any price. He absolutely cannot bear to lose Suzie again. Even if he has to chase her to the ends of the earth, he must find her and make her his wife. The girl was framed and fell into the river, where she was eaten by fish. Fortunately, her brother-in-law hired someone to perform a ritual to bring her back to life. Suzie never imagined that the first thing she would do upon returning to the Mu family home would be to offer incense to herself. In her heart, she bid farewell to her previous identity. Rest in peace, Suzie. From today onwards, she is Muzi. She will live a good life as Muzi and find the real culprit who killed Suzie. Her mother, worried about her health, told her to go home and rest. But just as she was about to return to the bungalow, she saw an unexpected person, Xiao Jingjia, her assistant from the prosecutor's office. Suzie didn't understand why he was at the Mu family home, and what he was holding were her work files. Why would the Mu family let him into her study alone? And the direction Xiao Jingjia was heading was towards Mu Zening's small study. Filled with doubts, she decided to follow him. Mu Zening's small study was his private space. Even as his wife, she wouldn't casually barge him before. But now how could Xiao Jingjia? She leaned against the wall, eavesdropping and peeking. It turned out that Mu Zening, in his small study, was consumed with grief and guilt over her death. And Xiao Jingjia was trying to comfort him, even taking the alcohol from his hand. Suzie's death was an accident. You didn't do anything wrong. Don't blame yourself anymore, Zening. But Mu Zening couldn't help but blame himself. Not only had he failed to protect her, he couldn't even retrieve her body after her death. The thought of Suzie's body lying somewhere in the cold depths of the water filled him with agony. Xiao Jingjia inconspicuously moved closer to him. She told him that Suzie committed suicide for him. This statement startled Suzie that I committed suicide for Mu Zening. Mu Zening didn't believe it either. That Suzie would commit suicide so he could collect her life insurance money and save the Mu Corporation from bankruptcy. Xiao Jingjia claimed that Suzie had offended many dangerous people in her work and had taken out a huge life insurance policy, and that she couldn't bear to see his years of hard work go to waste. So she deliberately staged her own accidental fall. These words instantly stunned Suzie. Mu Zening couldn't believe Suzie was so foolish. Xiao Jingjia's lips curled into a slight smile. He believed it. She sat beside him, comforting him and telling him not to be too sad. The most important thing now was to collect Suzie's massive life insurance payout and save the Mu Corporation for her sake. He thought it would bring peace to her soul, but he still couldn't believe his wife would do such a thing. But Xiao Jingjia told him that she was Suzie's best friend and understood her best. She would definitely do this. Outside the door, Suzie slammed her fist against the wall. Xiao Jingjia, who's your best friend? This woman was nothing more than an ordinary work assistant. After 3 years, she still couldn't become a prosecutor. Her professional skills were a complete mess. But today, she finally saw this woman's true professional skills. And Mu Zinning, that idiot, actually believed her. Suzie had always been straightforward in her life. Even if she hit a wall, she would never turn back. She would never commit suicide. Only a pig would believe that. She didn't know what happened, but she was actually being driven to tears by this despicable pair. Just then, a girl's voice came from behind her. "Isn't that the ugly freak, Mu Zi? What are you sneaking around here for?" It was Mu Lin, one of the two daughters of Mu Rongshuan, the head of the Mu family. Mu Lin, the younger sister, said unkindly, "You're so ugly." Her older sister knew that Mu Zi was technically their elder and should be treated with respect. But Mu Lin believed this lowly adopted daughter didn't deserve their respect. Mu Lin didn't understand what was going on with this ugly freak. In her memory, she was always gloomy, but now she looked different, like she had a beauty filter on. The Mu sisters still thought Mu Zi was at the hospital getting plastic surgery. Now, aside from a straighter nose, bigger eyes, a fuller bust, a more fashionable hairstyle, and the aura of a true heiress, there wasn't much difference from before. Suzie wasn't about to take their insults lying down. She immediately retorted, "You call me an ugly freak while clinging to me? Did your older brother never teach you any manners?" Mu Lin, thinking this lowly adopted daughter was going to complain to their father, flew into a rage. She raised her hand to slap Suzie. Today, she was determined to teach this little wild thing a lesson. But Suzie wasn't one to be trifled with. She quickly dodged the slap. Not only did Mu Lin miss, but she also fell flat on her face. Mu Lin, getting back on her feet, felt blood trickling down her face. Her sister, instead of helping, only made things worse by telling her she might be disfigured. While they were arguing, Mu Zinning, hearing the commotion, came out. Without asking for an explanation, he immediately started blaming Suzie. Suzie never expected their reunion to be like this. He knew this was a memorial service, yet he was still flirting with Xiao Jingjia. Suzie could only explain to Mu Zinning that Mu Lin had attacked her first and then fallen on her own. You don't even bother to find out the truth, believing whatever anyone tells you. No wonder the Mu Corporation went bankrupt so easily. Only then did Mu Zinning understand what had happened. He could only apologize to Suzie, even though she hadn't been wrong. But the Mu family had already used Suzie's exorbitant insurance payout to plug their financial holes. Mu Zinning clenched his fists in anger. Suzie provoked Mu Zinning on purpose, hoping he would lose his temper. People are most vulnerable when they're angry. She wanted to know if Mu Zinning truly was as clueless about the insurance payout as he had pretended to be in the study earlier. But then Xiao Jingjia appeared, urging Mu Zinning to calm down. She reminded him that insurance payouts have confidentiality clauses and shouldn't be discussed openly. Mu Zinning realized he had slipped up. Suzie was surprised by Xiao Jingjia's vigilance. She wouldn't reveal anything even in front of an insignificant person like Mu Zi. Xiao Jingjia told Suzie not to believe the gossip reporters. Suzie, facing the person who had betrayed her, wasn't in the mood for pleasantries. She immediately brushed Xiao Jingjia's hand away. "The Mu family's affairs are none of your business," she said. As a prosecutor, she only discovered after her death that her seemingly insignificant assistant, Xiao Jingjia, had not only secretly taken out a massive life insurance policy on her, but had also been secretly involved with her husband. Perhaps Xiao Jingjia, resentful that Suzie never promoted her to a full prosecutor due to her incompetence, had taken revenge. Suzie remembered the anniversary celebration where she had a drink offered by her assistant. She had felt dizzy and lightheaded afterward, but at the time, she had assumed she was just drunk. Now, looking back, she suspected the drink had been drugged. Suzie strongly suspected Xiao Jingjia was responsible for her death. Was her husband aware of this, or had he been deceived as well? Just then, Mu Zinning received a call from Xiao Jingjia. Their conversation was so familiar and natural. But Suzie, his wife, had no idea when they had become so close. The next moment, she was even more shocked when Mu Zinning gave Xiao Jingjia his beloved pink Hummer. He told her she didn't have to return it and could keep driving it. Xiao Jingjia, already in the car, was pretending to make the call. Suzie was furious. She couldn't believe Mu Zinning had so casually given her most prized possession to Xiao Jingjia. Overcome with anger, she bumped into Mu Zinning, claiming she wasn't feeling well and was going back to rest. Xiao Jingjia, hanging up the phone, was overjoyed. She immediately ripped off the hanging ornament from the car and threw it away. She would take good care of Suzie's car. and her career, her man, and her bright future. Back home, Suzie dreamed of the yacht party. Xiao Jingjia and Mu Zening had clearly been together already, yet they pretended to be strangers in front of her. She had asked her mother if she knew Xiao Jingjia. Her mother had told her that Xiao Jingjia had always presented herself as Suzie's friend to the Mu family. She often helped Suzie with work materials, and after her death, she had helped with the arrangements. The irony was that the entire Mu family knew, except for Suzie herself. Suzie remembered that there had been a surveillance camera in the study at the Mu house. There might be some clues there. She decided to sneak into the study during dinner. But when she entered the study, the camera was gone. It had been there the day before the yacht party. This meant it had been removed after her death. But she didn't know who had done it or if the camera had captured something that someone didn't want anyone to see. And his study had been ransacked. Drawers, bookshelves, storage boxes. Xiao Jingjia must have been looking for something. He remembered overhearing Xiao Jingjia asking Mu Zening to help her find a purple, rabbit-shaped flash drive. And Xiao Jingjia would never guess where he had hidden it. Suzie took the flash drive from his hand. Although he didn't know why Xiao Jingjia wanted his work flash drive, he took it first. No matter what Xiao Jingjia wanted, he wouldn't let her get it. It was clearly his study, but he had to sneak around to retrieve what belonged to him. Suzie had just left the study with the flash drive when he heard his husband's footsteps. He was calling Xiao Jingjia, asking her to help him find the flash drive. He panicked. He absolutely couldn't let Mu Zening see him there. He happened to notice a nearby room with its door ajar. He dashed into the room as fast as he could and quickly closed the door. Just then, Mu Zening walked up the stairs. He wondered if he was seeing things. He thought he'd just seen a tornado in the house. Hiding in the room, Suzie sighed with relief. He hadn't expected to be so clumsy after switching bodies. He didn't know whose room he had entered. The room was too dark to see anything, but he felt like he was being stared at by something sinister. The next second, the thing licked his leg. He panicked and yelled, "Something's licking me." The kitten just wanted to play with him. But Suzie was terrified of furry things. Most importantly, he was also allergic to cats. Just as he was in a state of fright, the kitten jumped up and pounced at him. He stumbled backward and fell onto the bed with a thud. Trembling, he shooed the kitten away. "Fatty, go away." Suzie told it to go play with its owner. But the kitten smelled a deathly odor like dried fish from a tomb. Now it only wanted to play with its big sister. What made Suzie even more afraid was that something had pressed up against his back without him noticing. It whispered in his ear, "Don't you recognize this cat? It's your favorite pet." Only then did Suzie realize that the person behind him was Mu Zi's older brother, Mu Rongqing. And he finally remembered that this was Mu Rongqing's room. Mu Rongqing didn't understand why his sister was on his bed in the dark. Suzie could only pretend to be calm and tell him that he had entered the wrong room. Behind him was the most dangerous man in the entire Mu family. In front of him was a cat, the animal he feared most when he was alive. Caught between a rock and a hard place, he reminded himself, "Mu Zi, don't be a coward." He kept thinking about his former life's motto, "Forge ahead, never back down." He kept encouraging himself, "Suzie, you can do this." "Yes, I can." The next second, he deftly pushed Mu Rongqing away. At that moment, the voice-activated lamp turned on. Mu Rongqing was shocked that his frail sister had managed to break free from him. Her technique felt like a seasoned fighter. He couldn't help but think that his sister was becoming more and more mysterious. She was the best female prosecutor in Xinjiang City. Forge ahead, never back down was her life motto. Even when she was murdered by a mysterious person on her wedding anniversary, and overnight became the most unloved adopted daughter of the Mu family, Mu Zi. He personally witnessed the betrayal of those he once trusted most. Despite suffering repeated blows, he didn't break down. Instead, he was full of energy, searching for the murderer who killed him. But now, he faced the biggest crisis since his rebirth, trapped between a tiger and a wolf. To avoid arousing Mu Rongqing's suspicion, despite his cat allergy, he forced himself to play with the cat. The kitten even brought him a gecko to eat. He couldn't stand it anymore, tears welling up in his eyes. He quickly climbed back onto Mu Rongqing's bed. Forget the life motto. He pulled the blanket over himself. Mu Rongqing found this amusing. She even snuggled up to the cat. He grinned and picked up the kitten. He remembered that Mu Zi hadn't acted like this around cats before. He also recalled their interactions since Mu Zi's suicide. He had even mentioned that she had died once. Mu Rongqing asked directly, "Mu Zi, your reaction to Wang Wang is really strange." The kitten didn't expect to be caught in the crossfire. Muzi was surprised that a cat was named Wang Wang. It was truly Mu Rongqing's cat, so two-faced. Mu Rongqing told him that the cat was Muzi's pet, but because she had been hospitalized recently, he was fostering it for a few days. But now, Muzi didn't recognize her own pet at all. Muzi instantly felt doomed. She never expected that this was the cat she had raised from a kitten. Faced with her older brother's questioning, she immediately felt trapped. She could only stiffly poke her head out from under the covers, forcing a laugh and saying that she just hadn't seen clearly and was only joking with Wang Wang. As soon as she finished speaking, Mu Rongqing brought the kitten right up to her face, wanting them to have some close mother-son contact. The overwhelming, suffocating cat aura made her throw off the covers and flee as if she were flying. All of this was just a test by Mu Rongqing. As he expected, she dodged. This Muzi in front of him was truly full of holes. She was clearly terrified, yet she pretended to be familiar with Wang Wang. She was literally smiling for her life. Could it be that she heard me say Wang Wang was Muzi's pet, so she's putting on an act? But this was a lie to begin with. Wang Wang was originally my pet, yet the Muzi in front of me knows nothing about it. I'll see what kind of tricks she's trying to pull. He walked step by step towards the girl, but accidentally stepped on a purple rabbit-shaped object. He'd stepped on this thing before. It was Suzie's custom-made personal flash drive. There wasn't a second one in the entire Xinjiang city. He didn't know why Suzie's flash drive would appear here. He couldn't help but wonder if the soul of Suzie, whom he couldn't find, was within his sister Muzi. In order to save the woman he loved, he went to great lengths to find a girl whose soul had a high degree of compatibility with hers. He even sought out old Ghost Wang to perform a ritual to save the girl, who knew that after being saved, the girl not only lost her memory, but her behavior and habits were completely unlike the woman he loved, until his sister accidentally barged into his room. His originally frail sister's movements were like she had trained before, and she was so afraid of cats. Most importantly, the custom-made personal flash drive that belonged to Suzie, of which there wasn't a second one in all of Xinjiang City, also appeared here. It made him think of all the previous discrepancies. He couldn't help but wonder if the soul of Suzie, whom he couldn't find, might be within his sister Muzi. He also thought of the body that had the accident at the same time as old Ghost Wang's ritual. Muzi fit the criteria perfectly. At this moment, Muzi saw the flash drive in Mu Rongqing's hand and felt doomed. She didn't know what to do to cover her tracks. And now, Mu Rongqing's expression made her suspect that she might have been exposed. But she had clearly just been putting her life into acting close to Wang Wang. She didn't understand. How could she, the best female prosecutor in Xinjiang City, fall to such depths? And at this moment, she finally remembered. This man had seen this flash drive with her before, but he had denied it. After all, this man didn't have a crush on her, so why would he remember such a trivial thing? Suzie could only force a smile and tell her brother that it contained the anime she had been watching recently and asked him to return quickly. But the man clearly remembered this flash drive belonged to Suzie, yet she claimed it was hers. Suzie just wanted to get this important flash drive back. This flash drive absolutely couldn't fall into his hands. Seeing how much she wanted it back, the man deliberately didn't return it. He even wanted to plug it into his computer and watch the anime with her. How could Suzie dare let him see the contents of the flash drive? Wouldn't her cover be blown the moment it was plugged in? She could only laugh awkwardly and claim that their mother was calling them home for dinner. While saying this, she reached for the flash drive, but unexpectedly, Mu Rongqing actually let go. He teased Suzie, I understand. That kind of anime really isn't suitable to watch with your brother. My ZZ has really grown up. Suzie was speechless. This playboy's head was clearly full of nothing. With the flash drive in hand, she didn't want to deal with Mu Rongqing anymore and slipped away as if she were flying. But how could the man let her escape so easily? Just as she was about to leave, she heard the man call out, Suzie. She froze. She didn't believe he had seen through her. How could a woman dispel a man's suspicions? In order to avoid her husband from her past life, she mistakenly entered her brother's room, leading her to the biggest crisis since her rebirth. She was faced with her mother, then a cat, and now her brother suspected her true identity. To dispel his suspicions, she could only risk her life to play with the kitten. But she didn't know that her brother already suspected she was the woman he had painstakingly tried to save. Just as she was about to leave, she heard her brother call her Suzie. The girl froze. Then, with a trembling body, she asked her brother not to scare her, since her sister-in-law's seventh-day memorial had just passed. Suzie, who considered herself a flawless actress with perfect expressions and movements, didn't realize she had overdone it. He had no idea the original Muzi was a punk girl. How could you be scared by this? Mu Rongqing suddenly became interested. He told her she misheard. She had clearly called Muzi's name just now. Suzie immediately flew into a rage. How could she have misheard? This man was clearly teasing her on purpose. Before she could react, Mu Rongqing came up behind her, put his arm around her neck, and told Suzie to go back and eat with him. He just happened to have his ultimate testing artifact at home, dragon fruit. Suzie really wanted to give this presumptuous man a shoulder throw. However, she had to cherish this hard-won chance at rebirth. She hadn't yet found out the truth about her murder. She absolutely couldn't expose herself now. She clenched her fists, telling herself to endure the humiliation. Back home, Mu Rongqing took out his ultimate testing artifact, a large plate of fruit. He told her to eat some to cushion her stomach. By this time, Suzie, after matching wits with the man for so long, was already starving. She picked up a fork and thanked her brother. She didn't know that at this moment, the man was nervously clutching his clothes. Just as the man expected, she chose the dragon fruit. In a short while, all the dragon fruit was devoured by the girl. The whole family was gathered, but only the dragon fruit was completely gone. Muzi always hated dragon fruit, yet she had eaten it all. And the fear of cats, like an illness, hiding Suzie's custom flash drive, a love of dragon fruit. She was indeed his ZZ. The man excitedly caressed the girl's face. But the next second, the woman burped. After confirming the person before him was his beloved ZZ, the man felt hatred in his heart. That damned Huang Laogui's ritual had gone terribly wrong. Without even finishing his meal, he quickly left to settle the score with Huang Laogui. His beloved woman had been murdered, her body never found. In his grief, he had asked someone to perform a ritual to bring her back. But Huang Laogui's ritual had gone wrong, and her soul hadn't entered the designated vessel. He tried everything, but couldn't find her. It wasn't until his sister's accident that he realized his beloved woman was right beside him, and he knew that if a spirit entered the wrong vessel, there would be major problems. He urgently ordered his subordinates to find someone who could replace Huang Laogui as quickly as possible. He would not allow Suzie's spirit to experience any problems. Just then, he received a call from his mother. His older brother had called his younger sister over. When he heard Mu Lin was injured, he became immediately worried and told his mother he would return right away. Meanwhile, Muzi had arrived at her older brother's house. His older brother was clearly there to reprimand her, but he was polite at first. He was indeed the director of the general office. Her older brother scolded her for taking her grievances out on her family. Moreover, the injury on Mu Lin's forehead might leave a scar. Muzi instantly transformed into a pitiful little thing. With a confused look, she said she didn't know Mu Lin had fallen so badly. Mu Lin aggressively accused her of pretending. "It was clearly you who hurt me." Faced with the accusation, Muzi was flustered and didn't know what to do. She had just recovered from blood loss, and her wounds were freshly healed. She had no strength at all, so how could she have been so rough? A tall, strong girl, a frail, delicate little thing. Her older brother was immediately disappointed. It was obvious who was bullying whom. Mu Lin was truly becoming more and more disobedient. She was actually using her father as a pawn. At the same time, Mu Lin was about to lash out at Muzi. Her older brother angrily stopped her. Mu Lin was full of grievance. She had really been bullied, but her father didn't believe her. Then her sister also came to stop her, telling her to be quiet. Kind-hearted Muzi asked her older brother not to blame Mu Lin. It was all her fault for not being strong enough to hold her back. Her older brother felt that Muzi was very sensible. He told her to go home early and not worry her family. As she left, she turned to look at the two sisters being lectured by their older brother. Mu Lin glared back fiercely, But as soon as Muzi left, Mu Lin chased after her. "You lowly adopted girl. You made me get hurt, and you made Dad yell at me. Damn you. You should just die." Enraged, she pushed Muzi with all her might. Caught off guard, Muzi was pushed into the water. "Do I have to be this unlucky?" Muzi cursed inwardly, pushed into the water twice. Having finally come back to life, she didn't want to drown again. The girl had been pushed into the river at her anniversary celebration, her body never found. She had been reborn into the frail, adopted girl Muzi, only to be pushed in again by her vicious cousin. Having finally come back to life, she didn't want to drown again. The murderer who killed her still hadn't been found. How could she be resigned to this? Just then, he suddenly opened his eyes. He suddenly felt himself become lighter. His spirit slowly floated out of the water. Suzie was overjoyed. Could it be that heaven had finally opened its eyes? But the next second, he saw Muzi's body sinking. He immediately went back into the water, trying to pull Muzi up. At this moment, Suzie finally reacted. He had an out-of-body experience. He had died again. This wasn't scientific. This made him seriously suspect that his rebirth had been discovered, and the underworld emissaries were here to take him back. Mu Lin on the shore was frightened. He only wanted to teach Muzi a lesson, but he never wanted her to actually die. Just then, a figure jumped into the water without hesitation. It happened so fast that even Suzi's spirit couldn't see who it was. In just a moment, the unconscious Muzi was pulled out by Mu Rongqing. He floated in the air, watching Mu Rongqing's anxious expression. "ZZ, wake up." What shocked him even more was that, in his panic, Mu Rongqing started to give Muzi artificial respiration. This made Suzi's jaw drop. Although saving a life was important, the relationship between uncle-in-law and sister-in-law was too messy for him to watch. He really hadn't seen it coming. This playboy was actually a siscon. Mu Rongqing desperately tried to save Muzi. His subordinates also rushed over. A subordinate checked Muzi's pulse. Unexpectedly, Muzi no longer had a pulse. He told the fourth young master in shock, "Miss Muzi is dead." Mu Lin couldn't believe it was true. It had only been a minute or two. She couldn't be dead. Impossible. Suzie then remembered that he had to get back into his body quickly. He absolutely couldn't die now. However, he couldn't possess Muzi's body. It rejected his spirit, preventing him from entering. Mu Rongqing anxiously picked up Muzi and ordered his subordinates to prepare the car to go to the hospital. However, as soon as he got into the car, Mu Rongqing immediately made a phone call, asking his subordinates if they had found him yet. No matter how far away, he was to be brought to Qingjiang City immediately. Suzie felt that Mu Rongqing wasn't focused. His sister was dying, and he was still acting like a domineering CO making calls. He tried again to enter Muzi's body. Fortunately, this time the attraction was stronger. His spirit wasn't expelled, but he felt so tired. He had to sleep for a while. The man went to great lengths to seek a glimmer of hope for his beloved, but the spellcaster made a mistake, causing his spirit to disappear. He was overjoyed when he confirmed that his beloved had become his sister, but his beloved was pushed into the water again and lost her pulse. At this time, Suzi's spirit had been following him. He tried again to enter Muzi's body. He finally wasn't rejected by the body and successfully entered, but he felt extremely tired. When he woke up again, he was back in the hospital. Suzie was extremely grateful to be alive again. He couldn't help but pat his chest. That was close. But when he looked up, he saw a large face. He was startled and quickly recoiled. Was this person a ghost? Why didn't they make a sound? It was truly terrifying. At this moment, the fourth young Master Mu was still wearing wet clothes, and his hair was also dripping water. Water trickled down his face from his hair, making him look incredibly sexy. Even Suzie had to admit he was incredibly handsome. Even though he looked like a drowned rat, he resembled a male model in a photo shoot. And those lips were the same ones that had just given him artificial respiration. Suzie suddenly felt incredibly shy. He couldn't look directly at him. "Brother, go change your clothes. Be careful not to catch a cold." But Mu Rongqing didn't move. Instead, he kept staring at him because he wasn't sure if this person who had died and come back to life was his Suzie. So he took out his testing artifact again, falsely claiming that the doctor told him to eat a fruit salad after waking up to help him recover. Suzie was speechless. Making someone who had just nearly drowned eat fruit immediately after waking up? Was this Dr. Quack? Mu Rongqing, afraid that he wouldn't eat, even peeled a banana for him, ready to feed him. Suzie waved his hands repeatedly, and "Oh no, I'll do it myself." He didn't want to eat a banana. Suzie quickly stabbed his favorite dragon fruit and devoured it with gusto. Mu Rongxing then confirmed that the person in front of him was indeed his beloved girl. He immediately took the fruit plate away, afraid that she would eat too much and vomit. But this action angered Suzie. Did this person have a split personality? Didn't he just force her to eat? Mu Rongxing was overjoyed. It was indeed his ZZ. He couldn't help but slowly move closer to Suzie, who didn't understand what he was trying to do. The next second, the man kissed the lips he had been longing for day and night. Suzie was instantly furious. What kind of weird, forbidden love was this? They were siblings. Unable to bear it any longer, she clenched her fists and punched the man fiercely, but he blocked it with his palm. Instead of getting angry, the man laughed. He grabbed her hand and pressed it against his chest. ZZ, you need to be good. The girl was pushed into the water again and drowned. Fortunately, she was saved by her brother. But as soon as she woke up, she was kissed by him. Unable to endure it, she threw a punch at the man, but he blocked it. Suzie glared at the man furiously. Just then, her mother rushed in, eyes filled with tears. Zizi, mother hugged her dear daughter, anxiously asking if she was all right and if she was still feeling unwell. Hearing this, Suzie glared at the man, fuming, "Of course something's wrong. Your son assaulted me." Mu Xiao, however, told their mother that ZZ was fine now, just frightened and had temporarily fainted. Suzie's eyes could kill. There's clearly something wrong. I've been molested. Mu Xiao looked at her pouting face like a little hamster. She was so cute. He couldn't help but poke her cheek. He told her mother to take care of ZZ. He had something to do. Furious, Suzie opened her mouth to bite the despicable man, but he quickly withdrew his hand. Don't run away if you dare. I'll bite you to death, you pervert. As soon as Mu Xiao got home, he immediately met with the feng shui master. He wanted to know if the soul transfer ritual had failed. Now that the soul was in another body, what could he do? The man told him that although he couldn't return the soul to its original body, his soul-nourishing method could ensure its safety for the time being. He then explained the method to Mu Xiao. Mu Xiao ordered his subordinate to do everything Mr. Du instructed. Money is no object, but Mr. Du should also understand my rules. Du a naturally understood Mu Xiao's rule. He wouldn't dare to disobey. He respectfully presented the consecrated Kunlun Red to Mu Xiao's subordinate. The subordinate didn't believe that these two phone straps could nourish a soul. He wondered if it was even reliable. Mu Xiao scolded him. Nonsense. The subordinate knew it couldn't be that simple. But the next second, he heard Mu Xiao say it wasn't soul-nourishing, but wife-nourishing. The subordinate was utterly bewildered. Was this the same ruthless man he once knew? He felt like he was holding the script of a mindless idol drama. This girl was repeatedly pushed into the water. The cold, suffocating feeling terrified her. Even in her dreams, she dreamt of becoming a cold corpse again, with something eating her mouth. The soft, cool feeling was truly terrifying. No, she didn't want to face death again. Suzie abruptly opened her eyes. As soon as she did, she saw herself being kissed. Furious, she grabbed a pillow and smacked the man with it. "What were you doing?" The man easily blocked the pillow. "What was I doing?" "Don't you know?" Suzie, remembering that this man had kissed her sister, felt utterly disgusted. She angrily scolded him for being shameless. But the man seemed to think she was overreacting, that it's not like we haven't kissed before. Suzie was instantly enraged. The grappling techniques she had learned for years finally came in handy. Prepare to die. Pervert. To her surprise, this good-for-nothing playboy was able to counter her moves. She didn't know when he had become so skilled. The next second, the man pinched her chin. "Little thing, where'd you learn that?" "I didn't know my sweet little sister knew such moves." Suzie froze. Oops, almost slipped up. Being trapped in this body was so frustrating. She sighed inwardly. Force won't work. I'll have to try being sweet. She instantly transformed into a harmless little girl, looking at the man with teary eyes. "Brother, let me go. You're my brother." Although Mu Xiao knew she was faking it, her expression was just too cute. He gently patted her head. "We're not blood-related, silly girl. What are you afraid of?" But Suzie became even angrier inside. This immoral beast. Weren't siblings still siblings, even without a blood relation? On the surface, however, she continued to cry, wiping away her tears. "You're bullying me. I'm going to tell Mom." But instead of being afraid, the man threatened her. "Perfect. Mom's been wanting me to settle down. She'll be thrilled if you're her daughter-in-law. Suzie was going crazy. She couldn't believe that she, a prosecutor, was helpless against this scoundrel. She asked him what he wanted. The man simply told her, "I want to like you even more, ZZ." But Suzie didn't want his affection. She was his sister, not one of his girlfriends. But Mu Xiao told her, "This time you'll definitely like me." He was overjoyed that you're finally mine. We have plenty of time ahead of us, ZZ. The girl had just been sleeping when she was forcibly kissed by her beast of a brother. She thought, "I'm a prosecutor, and yet I can't do anything about this hooligan." She wanted to tell her mother that she had been bullied. Just then, her mother walked in. She sensed the strange atmosphere between the two siblings and froze. It felt like countless electric currents were flowing between the two siblings. Suzie wanted her mother to see just how shameless her son was. "ZZ, if you think I'm going to," Mu Xiao started to say. Then in the next second, he gently pinched Suzie's nose. "That you're so grown up and you're still crying to your brother." Suzie was speechless. She never thought this man could be even more shameless. Their mother, seeing how close they seemed, was overjoyed. Suzie clutched her head in frustration. "Relax my foot," she thought. "Can't you see your son is harassing me?" Just as she was fuming, her mother came to her side and gently stroked her head. "ZZ, you should thank your brother. He saved you from the water." Suzie felt like a flock of crows had just flown over her head. He had already taken advantage of her. How else was she supposed to thank him? With her flesh? She could only manage an awkward, polite smile. Just then, Mu Rongshuan, her eldest brother, came to see her. He apologized for his daughter, Mu Lin. He said even jokes should have a limit, and that it was fortunate Suzie was all right. They hadn't expected Mu Rongshuan to treat them like fools, claiming Mu Lin was just joking. Their mother immediately refuted Mu Rongshuan. How could it be a joke? If it weren't for Rongqing saving her, ZZ might have. Mu Xiao interjected, saying whether it was a joke or attempted murder, the police would figure it out. They didn't need to worry about it. Mu Rongshuan disagreed with Mu Xiao. They were family, and their third sister-in-law had just passed away. If this matter went to the police, the Mu family would lose face. Mu Rongshuan used Mu Lin's young age and immaturity as an excuse, asking them to let her off. Suzie wanted to applaud him. He truly is worthy of being the director of the general office. Appealing to emotions, reasoning logically, emotionally resonant, controlled delivery, perfect, He left the matter to Mu Z to handle. Thinking, little thing, stop pretending to be weak. Let the show begin. Suzie, however, was in a dilemma. She didn't know how a 16-year-old girl who had just experienced a brush with death should act. "I should have studied acting instead of law," she thought. It was clearly attempted murder, yet they claimed it was a joke. Is this how jokes are played? They really think people are fools. Mu Rongshuan told Mu Zi to make any demands, and he would do everything possible to compensate her. Suzie pondered how to maximize her benefit. If she called the police, Mu Lin, being a minor, would be considered a juvenile offender and would at most spend a few months in juvenile detention. Although this would be fatal to Mu Rongshuan's career, it was meaningless to her. She was reborn for revenge and repayment, not to deal with a small fry. It would be better to gain something tangible. Suzie pathetically told Mu Rongshuan that she wanted to go to school. He hadn't expected this lowly adopted daughter to be so easily appeased. He chuckled, saying it was good that she wanted to study, and asked if she wanted to attend junior high or high school so he could make arrangements. To his surprise, Suzie wanted to attend Gray High School. Upon hearing this, Mu Rongshuan's expression immediately changed. This girl actually wanted to go to Gray? Gray was one of the top 3 blue-blooded, aristocratic schools in the country. The students were either rich or noble, and the annual tuition was close to $1 million. Mu Xiao chuckled inwardly. Even this old fox of a brother has been caught off guard. Their mother was very worried. Zizi had dropped out of junior high school and stayed home. She was worried that attending such an elite high school would make her daughter feel even more inferior. She tried to persuade Suzie, saying it was a difficult school to get into. Mu Rongshuan was furious. His own daughter's annual tuition was already a pain, and this adopted daughter actually wanted to attend Gray? He couldn't afford it. Mu Rongshuan could only try to persuade her that it was good to be ambitious, but excessive comparison and vanity were not good. Other schools were just as fine. Suzie, however, was unwilling to compromise. He was clearly at fault, yet he lacked sincerity. Did he really think Suzie was so easy to bully? Suzie firmly stated that she only wanted to go to Gray. Mu Rongxuan was angered by Muzie's greed. He told her to think it over, as there were many other good schools to choose from. He then excused himself, claiming he had something to attend to. Suzie wouldn't let him off so easily. It was time to seek justice for the bullied Muzie. The malicious girl, in a fit of pique, had pushed her into the water. To resolve the incident, the father promised to do everything in his power to compensate the girl, who knew she would directly demand to attend the elite Gray High School, where the annual tuition was over $1 million. Mu Rongxuan could save that money. His daughter, Muzie, had just returned home after causing trouble. Her father promised to send her to Gray High School if she dropped the matter. But Mu Rongxuan did something else. He directly gave his troublesome daughter a hard slap. She was always causing him trouble. The heartbroken Muzie threw herself into Qiao Jingjia's arms. Qiao Jingjia comforted Muzie, saying he'd seen many cases like this and that he would handle it. Mu Rongxuan could have resolved this small issue himself, but seeing how eager Qiao Jingjia was to please Muzie, he was happy to let him play the good guy. Qiao Jingjia was inwardly delighted. If he could gain Mu Rongxuan's approval, he would be one step closer to his goal. Afterwards, Mu Zening excused himself and Mu Rongxuan. They had to return to the study. Back in the study, Mu Zening gave all the USB drives he found at Qiao Jingjia. Although the Purple Rabbit USB drive wasn't among them, he could take them back and check, trying his luck. Qiao Jingjia deliberately moved closer to Mu Zening, telling him that these weren't his USB drives. However, Suzie's work files hadn't been completely archived yet, so he could take these back and sort through them. While handing over the USB drives, he intentionally brushed against Mu Zening's hand. Qiao Jingjia didn't mind that Mu Zening was unmoved. There was plenty of time. He would eventually fall for him. Mu Zening personally sought Qiao Jingjia out. He happened to run into Suzie, who had just been discharged from the hospital. Suzie was instantly furious. She had only been dead for a few days, and this adulterous couple was already out and about together. Mu Xiao further provoked her, asking how her third brother could have a close female friend just a few days after his wife's death. He wondered if Suzie would jump out of her grave if she knew. Suzie was enraged. This despicable man left her body to decompose in the river, while he was here enjoying the company of another woman. She suspected her death was definitely related to this scumbag. Angrily, she yelled, "It's been so long, and they still haven't found my third sister-in-law. She can't even be buried properly. How pitiful." Mu Xiao observed his sister's expression. There was no heartbreak, no grief, only disgust. Mu Xiao was delighted. It seemed Suzie hadn't loved her husband that much. Mu Zening finally pulled his hand away. Qiao Jingjia was furious that this adopted daughter was so persistent. The scumbag husband neglected his wife's body in the river. In just a few days, he was already out with his assistant and was caught red-handed by Suzie, who had just been discharged from the hospital. Suzie was furious. Mu Xiao added fuel to the fire, saying that it wasn't that they couldn't find her, but that Mu Zening didn't have the time to look as he was busy saving the Mu group. Their mother told them to stop and urged them to go back inside, while inwardly praying to Buddha for protection and forgiveness. Mu Xiao advised Mu Zening not to overwork himself. Qiao Jingjia knew his opportunity had come. He immediately comforted Mu Zening. "Don't blame yourself. The currents in Xinjiang are strong, and there are many undercurrents in the river. It's impossible to find the body. I believe Suzie wouldn't blame you in heaven." Hearing this, Suzie was furious that "wouldn't blame you, my foot. Why don't I throw you in the river and let you rot?" Just as she was fuming, Mu Xiao whispered something in her ear, scaring her off. Mu Zening was heartbroken. He didn't know if Suzie would blame him. At their wedding, he had vowed to take care of her for the rest of their lives. But now, he couldn't even give her a proper burial. He couldn't help but burst into tears. He was filled with regret. Qiao Jingjia didn't know what he regretted. Was it not continuing the search for the body? Or was it his ambiguous relationship with his assistant? But he had meticulously planned every step to get to this point, and it wasn't to listen to his regrets. Qiao Jingjia leaned against Mu Zening, telling him, "I know you can't let go of Suzie. It's okay. I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes. I won't mind." He gently wiped away the tears from the corner of Mu Zening's eyes. In his heart, all men were pigs. He wanted to see how long Mu Zening could keep up the act. At this moment, Mu Xining felt incredibly grateful that Jingjia had always been by his side. He had always appreciated Jingjia's devotion. He thanked Xiao Jingjia for always being there for him. They couldn't help but kiss. Xiao Jingjia was overjoyed. See, he didn't even last 5 seconds. Suzie, you may be smarter and more beautiful than me, but I understand men better. The woman he loved had not only become his third sister-in-law, but had also been murdered. He painstakingly found a feng shui master to bring her back to life. However, her spirit hadn't entered the designated soul vessel, and with her unstable spirit, she could disappear at any moment. He consulted the feng shui master again to set up an array. The wandering soul had 5 yin tombs arranged around the residence. A black cat, being a collector of yin energy, could effectively protect the soul and help it adapt to the spiritual energy. And he himself carried the yang object of Kunlun fire, which could offset the negative energy of the yin location. In order to better protect Suzie, Mu Xiao moved to the back garden with the black cat to live with ZZ. Suzie was afraid of the black cat and wanted her mother to get rid of it. Mother knew the black cat was spiritual, a guardian spirit of the house. Moreover, a feng shui master had performed a ritual to consecrate it for Wang Wang. For ZZ's safety, Mother refused a request. Suzie had never heard of consecrating a cat in all her life. Mu Xiao was overjoyed. Everything was proceeding according to his plan. His only regret was that his ZZ hadn't entered the carefully prepared soul energy. After he realized the girl wasn't his ZZ, he completely abandoned the idea. Although it was somewhat cruel, this was the only way to minimize the harm. A perfectly good couple had now become siblings. But what did it matter if they weren't related by blood? Now, under the same roof, he could do more. Ever since her rebirth, Suzie hadn't had a good night's sleep, plagued by nightmares every night. Now, in this building, there was Mu Rongxing and the cat she hated most. She thought she would definitely be sleepless all night. Unexpectedly, she fell asleep in just a few minutes. To her surprise, she had slept soundly last night, the best sleep she'd had since her rebirth. She felt refreshed, completely without the previous grogginess and weakness in her limbs. When she came downstairs for breakfast and learned that her brother had already left, her mood brightened even more, making her want to dance. After finishing breakfast, she came out and saw her beloved car drive past. She froze, guessing that Xiao Jingjia had spent the night at the Mu family home. She instantly burned with rage. Sleeping with my man is one thing. I don't want him anyway, but how dare you defile my precious car? That was the first car she bought after becoming a prosecutor. She lamented her early death. She could only watch as her beloved possession was treated so carelessly. She secretly vowed, Mu Xining, Xiao Jingjia, just you wait. I will make you pay with blood. The girl, on her anniversary, was pushed into the river and drowned. Fortunately, heaven had mercy and allowed her to be reborn into the adopted daughter, Muzi. The girl wanted to find the truth about her death, but it was incredibly difficult to find evidence on her own. So, she called her good friend, Jiang Ci. She told him she had clues about Suzie's accidental death. They agreed to meet at the beef noodle restaurant on the corner. Jiang Ci was the captain of the Criminal Investigation Division of the Qingjiang City Police Department. He was fiery, fierce, hated evil, and had the highest case closure rate. He was Suzie's best friend and partner. Jiang Ci burst through the door. Just as Suzie had anticipated, he had indeed come. As soon as Jiang Ci sat down, he stared coldly at her. Who are you? Was Suzie murdered? How does a little kid like you know about this? Suzie post. She had prepared a whole spiel, but now that he was here, she didn't know how to begin. Seeing her silence, Jiang Ci became furious that we haven't been able to find Suzie's body. I suspect she might still be alive. Maybe she knew someone was trying to harm her, so she's hiding and asked you to relay a message to me. Is that it? Suzie habitually scratched her head. You, in your temper, Jiangchi Froze. This person's demeanor and tone were so much like Suzie. The next second, Suzie told him that she was indeed dead, but you can also consider me still alive. Jiang Ci was completely confused, not understanding what she meant. The next moment, the person in front of him told him, I am Suzie. Jiang Ci was furious. He told her to think carefully about the consequences of deceiving him. Minors were responsible for their words and actions. Seeing his disbelief, Suzie played her trump card. You have a mole on your left chest. The location of that mole is so unique. Only Jiangxi's mother and Suzie knew about it. Jiangxi was instantly overwhelmed with emotion. Suzie knew this was hard to believe, but right now, besides Jiangxi, there was no one else who could help her. In the end, Jiangxi believed her, but he didn't understand why his best friend had become like this. Suzie told him, in short, Suzie is dead. I am now Muzi, Jiangxi. When I heard the news of your death, the officers who investigated the scene ruled it an accidental drowning. But I didn't believe you could just die like that. Yet, I couldn't find any evidence. The only useful testimony came from Qiao Jingjia. He said that on the anniversary, you prepared a surprise for Mu Zinning and arranged to meet him at the bow of the boat. So, the police concluded that you accidentally fell into the water while preparing the gift and drowned. They then realized that Qiao Jingjia was behind it. Someone had clearly pushed her into the river, but her assistant not only hid it, but also bought a high-value insurance policy on her. He also told the police that on the anniversary, you had prepared a surprise for Mu Zinning and arranged to meet him at the bow of the boat. This led the police to conclude that you accidentally fell into the water and drowned. But they didn't know that it was all Qiao Jingjia's lies. Suzie hadn't prepared any gifts, and she never told him anything like that. Only then did Jiangxi realize that the Qiao family was behind it all. Furious, he grabbed the table, wanting to kill Qiao Jingjia immediately and avenge Suzie. But Suzie told him that she had actually received a text message from Mu Zinning, saying he had a surprise for her and inviting her to the bow of a ship. She immediately suspected Mu Zinning might be involved. But Suzie was standing by the railing, and the attacker pushed her from behind. She didn't see the attacker's face at all, but the person who pushed her was very strong, so she guessed it couldn't have been either of them. One sent a text message inviting her to the bow, and the other deliberately gave a misleading statement. This definitely had something to do with that despicable couple. Suzie knew that the key to finding the truth lay with these two. She asked Jiangxi what she needed to do. Suzie now wanted the guest list from the yacht that night, so she could investigate everyone. This was very simple for Jiangxi. He just needed to check the case file, where it was all recorded. Now Suzie planned to return to the Mu family home and find an opportunity to deal with that despicable couple, and then prepare to attend Grenier High School. Jiangxi was immediately astonished. What? Grenier High School? Does your family own a gold mine? Suzie's family didn't own a gold mine, but she did have a sugar daddy footing the bill. And Jiangxi decided to give this soon-to-be high school girl a huge gift package. Jiangxi's big gift package consisted of study guides like 100% proficiency, 5 years of high school entrance exams, and 3 years of simulated exams. Suzie never imagined the irony of fate. The books she personally burned after her college entrance exams, she now had to cram again. And Suzie didn't expect to run into the Ajanan Tanhua again. They used to watch Pretty Teacher together sweetly. But now, he had his mistress at home and was still pretending to be a decent person here. How had she not noticed before how two-faced this man was? She didn't want to see this nauseating man again and try to walk around him. But just as she turned, the scumbag called out to her. Suzie was utterly speechless. Just keep up your act. What do you want with me? This man's wife had just died, and he was already flirting with other women. Yet here he was acting like a saint. Not wanting to be disgusted by her ex-husband any longer, she turned to leave, but he called out to her, Grenier isn't suitable for you. He advised her to choose another school. Suzie chose this school because Grenier was the only high school that didn't have an age limit for taking the judicial examination. This was the fastest way for her to become a prosecutor again. Suzie stared fiercely at this clueless man. Mu Zinning felt that her stubborn look was very similar to Suzie's. Lately, he couldn't help but notice her. Mu Zinning thought he was just overwrought to have such absurd thoughts. How could he know that the person in front of him was his deceased wife? Suzie didn't want to talk to him anymore and turned to leave. Just then, Mu Zinning told her that Qiao Jingjia had come back to discuss a settlement with his mother. Suzie couldn't believe an intern was trying to interfere with the investigation. Mu Zinning told her not to be so harsh, and that Qiao Jingjia was now a prosecutor. He's doing this for your own good. Suzie asked him, Third brother, were you sitting here just now to mourn third sister-in-law? Then you should at least wipe the lipstick off your neck. Only then did Mu Zinning realize he had a lipstick mark on his neck. He awkwardly covered his neck. Qiao Jingjia wanted to appease her to curry favor with with the Mu family. That would be perfect, bring it on. My S-rank persona is already thirsty for action. Her mother wanted to open a separate bank account for Suzie's school expenses. She used this as an excuse to leave the house. As soon as she left, Xiao Jingjia showed up. He was confident that he could resolve such a small case in minutes and earn Mu Rongshuan's gratitude. It was quite cost-effective. Xiao Jingjia thought that an unsophisticated, academically poor girl would be easy to deal with. Suzie had finally waited for him. If I don't make him cry today, my name isn't Sue. Xiao Jingjia started by playing the sympathy card, blaming Mu Lin for being careless and causing her to fall into the water. You must have been terrified. He was implying it was an accident, trying to mislead Suzie. He never expected the person before him to be his superior. Suzie replied cheerfully that she thought she was going to drown, but luckily, she was fine. She was even fortunate enough to be able to attend Green Year. She should thank Mu Lin properly. Her response left Xiao Jingjia at a loss. The strategies he had prepared were completely useless. On behalf of Mu Rongshuan, Xiao Jingjia offered to cover all her expenses and compensate her with 150,000 for emotional distress. But attending Green Year was out of the question. Suzie wouldn't compromise, so easily point 150,000 for attempted murder. Does he think I'm a beggar? Suzie had already seen through his tricks. He was probably hoping to reduce the charge from intentional injury to negligent injury. Then Suzie would have gone through all this trouble for nothing and wouldn't get a single penny. Suzie had already decided to sue for abuse. Xiao Jingjia didn't expect her to be so difficult. If she sued for abuse, regardless of the outcome, if this gets out, it would ruin the Mu family's reputation. Xiao Jingjia could only think of a way to stabilize Mu Zi first. His superior had been suppressing him for 3 years, claiming his professional skills were inadequate, preventing him from becoming a full prosecutor. This had become his nightmare. He'd finally waited for his superior's death, painstakingly maneuvering his way through connections to finally be promoted to prosecutor. But now, in this little adopted daughter, he saw the shadow of his former boss once again. Xiao Jingjia was shocked. He couldn't be demoted or disciplined because of this case. That would be a huge loss. He hadn't expected this cunning adopted daughter to have been playing dumb all along. He could only patiently persuade her. They were family. Why make things so difficult? Suzie wanting to attend Green Year wasn't mediation. It was clearly extortion. The tuition alone was 2 million. This was practically carving flesh from Mu Rongshuan's body. Xiao Jingjia forced a smile, taking deep breaths to control his emotions. This wasn't something he could decide on his own. He had to go back and discuss it with Mu Rongshuan. Suzie told Xiao Jingjia to inform his dear older brother that she had kept all the medical records from the injuries she suffered from Mu Lin's bullying over the years. Her therapy records were also intact. Moreover, she had kept a diary. Although it lacked objectivity as evidence, if published online, it would certainly be quite a story that a rich family's adopted daughter's diary of abuse. Was that title eye-catching enough? Xiao Jingjia hadn't expected her to have so much evidence and to threaten him with it. Suzie simply wanted to use these to make a deal with Mu Rongshuan. Xiao Jingjia said he would relay her words to Mu Rongshuan. As he was about to leave, he heard a wait. Xiao Jingjia was instantly delighted. She was still a child after all. Give a little carrot, give a little stick, and she'd obediently fall in line. But what he didn't expect was Suzie adding another condition. She wanted the pink Hummer. Xiao Jingjia's heart felt like it had been ignited, exploding with a bang. He had had his eye on that Hummer for so long and had only driven it for a few days. This adopted daughter actually dared to covet it. Xiao Jingjia glared fiercely at Suzie. Suzie didn't care. She vehemently declared that she didn't care whose car it was. She wanted it. If she didn't get it, she would publish her diary online. Xiao Jingjia kept telling himself to calm down. He had to get rid of this hot potato quickly. So he told Suzie that both conditions were related to her 2 older brothers. As an outsider, it wasn't appropriate for him to say much. They would discuss it with her mother when they came. Then he fled. Suzie was overjoyed, enjoying her little victory. And Mu Rongxing, the pervert, still hadn't come home. These past few days had been extremely comfortable. This man had a peculiar pihao. He liked to sneak into his sister's bed. His fingers gently touched the sleeping person. The next second, the girl suddenly opened her eyes. Suzie scrambled up in alarm, trying to escape, but Mu Rongqing held her from behind, preventing her from running. Then, with a flip, he pinned her beneath him. Suzie struggled desperately but couldn't break free. That Mu Rongqing. Let me go. You can yell louder. Call mom over to see what we look like right now. Suzie immediately stopped. Mu Rongqing could be shameless, but she couldn't. If Bai Ai saw them lying on the bed with their clothes disheveled, she wouldn't be able to live with herself. Mu Rongqing was acting like this because he'd received news that during his absence, his sister had met with Mu Zening. Suzie didn't know how he knew. This man hadn't been home for days. She guessed he must have had someone watching her. A warm breath interrupted her thoughts. The man whispered in her ear, "You've been naughty." The thought of being watched ignited Suzie's fury. She angrily demanded, "You were spying on me? What did you two talk about?" "None of your damn business." Suzie tried to push him away, but the man held her firmly in place. "You perverted lunatic. What right do you have to question me?" Mu Rongqing thought she was being coy, pretending to protect Mu Zening so she could get better terms later. He angrily gripped her chin. This man actually thought she was waiting for a chance to get better terms with Mu Zening. Did he think she was a garbage dump? Suzie furiously told him, "I was just passing by. Do you think everyone is as shameless as you? You crazy bastard. I'm so angry." In her rage, she bit his hand. Mu Rongqing then realized he had wrongly accused her. She was just passing by, not harboring lingering feelings for Mu Zening. Suzie glared at him, "That I'm not someone you can mess with. Get out." To her surprise, instead of being angry, the man seemed to enjoy being bitten, making Suzie suspect he was mentally ill. He smiled after being bitten. Was he a masochist? Even more unexpectedly, he admitted he was sick and that only she could cure him. Suzie was stunned again. Encountering a pervert of this level, she was truly speechless. The man embraced her again, demanding she never see or speak to Mu Zening again, or he would find ways to punish her. This man not only sneaked into his sister's room late at night, but also forced her not to meet with her third brother. But they all live in the Mu family home. How could they not meet? But the man guaranteed that as long as she didn't actively seek out her third brother, they wouldn't see each other again. Suzie didn't want to see that disgusting man anyway. Now, she readily agreed that she wouldn't go looking for her third brother again, just wanted to get rid of this man quickly so she could sleep. Who knew the man would coax her to sleep, saying he'd leave after she fell asleep. But with him there, how could Suzie possibly sleep? Mu Rongqing pulled up her clothes. "That you're so wide awake." He said, "I think it's better if you don't sleep. Why don't we do something else?" At this moment, the man's mind conjured up some indescribable things, and his face couldn't help but blush. Suzie didn't know why the man was inexplicably blushing. She simply wrapped the entire person up in the blanket that "Don't bother me. I'm sleeping." The man held the seemingly sleeping woman in his arms. A long time ago, he had wanted to hold her like this and fall asleep. Back then, he could only secretly hide in the corner, watching Mu Zening relentlessly pursue her. And he was in a precarious situation, living a life on the edge, constantly facing the possibility of death. At that time, he thought he was a man with no future. He didn't want to drag her down and make her suffer. And Mu Zening had pursued her for a full 4 years, and she hadn't accepted him. This meant she didn't love Mu Zening, and he still had a chance. So, back then, he fought tooth and nail, wanting to quickly consolidate his power and completely possess her. He didn't want her to wait too long. Just 1 year. 1 year was enough. But man proposes, God disposes. The grandmother who raised Suzie suddenly became critically ill, and the old woman's greatest wish was to see Suzie get married. In order not to leave her grandmother with regrets, Suzie hastily agreed to marry Mu Zening. Mu Zening, just like that, stole his Suzie. He could only watch from the crowd as the woman he loved became his sister-in-law, suffering alone, burying his love deep in his heart. Who knew that Suzie would later die unexpectedly? He went through great lengths, finding a feng shui master to revive her. And now he finally had his wish fulfilled, holding the woman he loved in his arms. Mu Rongqing secretly vowed in his heart, "No matter what, I will make Suzie fall in love with me." The man fought tooth and nail to secure his position for the woman, but due to a twist of fate, the woman became his third brother's wife. Now, his dream had finally come true, and he could hold her while she slept. Suzie was indignant. She hadn't expected to fall asleep in that pervert's arms, and she didn't even know when he left. She had to find a way to escape his clutches soon. This made her unhappy even while eating breakfast. Just then, her mother took out a bank card and told her that she had paid Guru's tuition and would regularly deposit living expenses into the account. Suzie was stunned. All these years, Bai Ai had been exploited and bullied by Mrs. Mu. Where did Bai Ai get this large sum of money? Even if she had it, it should be her pension. She had taken it all out to pay for her adopted daughter's high school tuition. Her mother also comforted her, saying that she must listen to the teachers at school and that it didn't matter if her grades couldn't keep up for a while. She could take it slow. Suzie was deeply moved. She didn't want Bai Ai to be so good to her. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to bear leaving her. Suzie returned the bank card, telling her mother that her eldest brother would definitely pay for Guru's tuition. Her mother, however, thought that Suzie didn't know how expensive Guru's tuition was and didn't understand what kind of person her eldest brother was. Meanwhile, her eldest brother was on the phone with Mu Zening, saying that he would handle things himself from now on. After hanging up, he was furious. What a crappy prosecutor. He can't even handle a children's quarrel. He actually still has delusions of marrying into my Mu family. Does he really think the Mu family is a vegetable market where any cheap vegetable can enter? He even pretended to advise me to have a good talk with Mu Zi. Has his brain really turned to mush? She's just an adopted daughter. Me go see her once was already showing her too much respect, but to go see her twice would be giving her too much face. As for wanting to report the Mu family for abuse and bullying, that's really pushing it too far, not knowing her place. He called Lao Lu for help. After hanging up, he decided it was time to teach her a lesson. Suzie told her mother that she was going to the bookstore to buy books, but actually went to the club to work out. She treated the punching bag as Mu Rongqing and fiercely attacked it. "Take that, you pervert." Zhang Sai advised her to take it slow so as not to hurt herself. But Suzie knew that this body was too weak. It couldn't compare to her previous body at all. She had to intensify her training. Zhang Sai didn't know why Suzie was in such a hurry. But Suzie just wanted to get rid of Mu Rongqing's control as soon as possible. Zhang Sai handed over all the information Suzie had requested last time. Could Suzie find evidence from this? As an adopted daughter of the Mu family, she had been bullied and abused by her cousin for years. Too afraid to complain, she could only write these things down in her diary. And when Mu Jia chases her into the water again, these diaries and therapy books can be used as evidence to sue Mu Jia for abuse and bullying. She can use this evidence to bargain with her eldest brother, exchanging it for Guru's tuition and living expenses. But her eldest brother wouldn't compromise so easily. In the time it took Suzie to eat a bowl of beef noodles, she returned home to find messy footprints on the floor. The house was a mess. Suzie panicked and quickly ran upstairs. Her room was even messier than downstairs. She opened the drawers, but found that none of the valuables were missing. However, the medical books, therapy records, and diaries were all gone. She knew that her good eldest brother, Mu Rongxuan, was definitely behind this. She was furious. So simple and crude, he didn't even bother with any scheming. Mu Rongxuan was truly despicable. This kind of break-in, as long as the amount involved wasn't large, would usually go nowhere even if reported to the police. That's why Mu Rongxuan was so brazen. Suzie knew she couldn't just sit idly by. She had to gain the upper hand immediately. She took out her phone and started recording. She quickly rushed to Mu Lin's place. When she pushed open the door, Mu Lin was calmly and elegantly drinking coffee. Suzie angrily questioned her. "Stealing my things is illegal." Mu Lin, emboldened by having taken the evidence, retorted, "Illegal? Who saw it? Do you have proof? Think before you speak, Suzie. Don't be like a mad dog, biting everyone you see." Suzie furiously told her, "Don't think you can get away with bullying me like this. Even if you took those things, I can still sue you. I'll also expose you online, you, your sister, and your father. None of you will escape." She then immediately turned and left. Seeing her leave, Mu Lin panicked. Although her father said that without those things, Suzie was just a declawed kitten with no real threat, she was afraid that Suzie's frantic yelling would attract attention. Even if there was no substantial loss, they would lose face. She suddenly roared, "You little bastard of unknown origin. Have you made enough trouble? Our Mu family took you in, pitted you, and you actually think you're somebody? You even want to sue us for abuse? and bullying? Lowly people deserve to be treated like lowly people. What's wrong with hitting you and scolding you? What's wrong with pushing you into the lake? Even if I skinned you alive, you should be kneeling and thanking me. Suzie, instead of getting angry, smiled. She turned around and played the recording she had just made for Mu-Lin. With this recording, even without other evidence, the charges of abuse and bullying would definitely stick. Mu Rongxuan had tried every way to destroy the evidence, but his pig teammate of a daughter just admitted to hitting and pushing her, and it was recorded by Suzie herself. Only then did Mu-Lin realize, belatedly, that she had messed up again. She had once again ruined her father's meticulous plans. Afterwards, Suzie mocked her. I didn't expect my eldest brother, so clever, to have such a pig teammate. Mu-Lin, enraged, tried to grab the phone, but Suzie blocked her. I can't beat Mu Rongxing, but if I can't even beat you, Mu-Lin, then I'm useless. Suzie looked towards the punching bag in the gym. Waves of pain shot through Mu-Lin as she cried out. But Suzie reminded her, instead of struggling, why don't you think about how you're going to explain this to your father when he gets back? Mu-Lin panicked and collapsed weakly onto the floor. Suzie told her, $2 million for tuition, and that pink Hummer, I won't take anything less. Otherwise, you can look forward to the headlines in a few days. Suzie said this and walked away. Good luck. When Mu Rongxuan learned of this, he smashed the ashtray in anger. Without waiting for Mu-Lin to explain, he slapped her hard across the face. You have the nerve to talk? Everything I painstakingly planned has been ruined by you. The old man died early. Bai Wei was just the old man's caregiver, with low status and a meek personality. So, Mu Rongxing has always been unwelcome in the Mu family. All these years, he's been even more self-destructive, fooling around outside all day. And that adopted daughter of unknown origin. Forget Mu-Lin and Mu-Yun. Even the servants don't take her seriously. Mu Rongxuan had thought they would always stay quietly in that small house, fading into obscurity. He didn't expect to be stabbed in the back by them this time. It seemed he had underestimated them. Suzie could hear Mu-Lin crying from her room. She was overjoyed. Mu-Lin getting beaten. This was truly a rare and wonderful sight. Having lost face and been fleeced, Mu Rongxuan finally couldn't take it anymore. He gently stroked a photo of his original body, just a couple of slaps. Compared to the torment you endured, what does this even count as? Don't worry, I'll slowly help you get justice. Early one morning, Mu Rongxuan delivered the tuition money. The mother and daughter were overjoyed. Mom, I told you my eldest brother would pay for my tuition. Her mother told Suzie. He also said he'll have Xiao Jingjia send over the Hummer soon. We're all family. Let's not hurt each other's feelings anymore. Suzie knew that her eldest brother meant for her to take the money and shut up. As a prosecutor, she still had some integrity. The girl had just died, and her assistant not only slept with her husband, but also stole her beloved Hummer. Now that he has something on Mu Jia, he has the chance to get his Hummer back and make Xiao Jingjia lose face. It's truly satisfying. Xiao Jingjia is furious. The Hummer he just got a few days ago has to be returned. He really didn't expect that even Mu Rongxuan couldn't handle it. That adopted daughter actually paid $2 million and got Zaining to take the car back. What made him even angrier was Mu Zaining's attitude. After taking the car back, he actually made him take the subway home. Yet Suzie, who also works at the prosecutor's office, enjoys being chauffeured by him every day, rain or shine. He wouldn't even let her drive, let alone take the subway. Now, when it's his turn, he only gets a thanks for your trouble. Xiao Jingjia slammed the car door shut, fuming. He knew his efforts weren't enough, far from enough. But in a moment, Xiao Jingjia, with his masterful control of his expressions, delivered the car to Mu Zi and told her, "This is third sister-in-law's most prized possession. You must take good care of it." Mu Zi told him, "I'll definitely cherish sister-in-law's beloved car. You've gone through so much trouble, Aunt Xiao. It must be inconvenient without a car, right? But Aunt Xiao, you're so old. Driving a pink car is really strange. Actually, taking the subway is quite nice. You don't have to worry about traffic, and it's environmentally friendly." Xiao Jingjia couldn't figure out where he had offended this brat. Why was she against him from beginning to end? But when he thought about how she had offended both the eldest and third young masters of the Mu family, his mood instantly brightened. Just you wait. Your good days are numbered. Mu Zi watched his expression like he was about to unleash a big move. She was afraid he wouldn't come looking for trouble. Her beloved Hummer was finally back. Mu Zi was overjoyed and decided to go see her precious car first. She happily sang as she went to reunite with her beloved car. The next second, she froze. She opened the car door. The thought of her precious steering wheel being defiled, her beloved seats being sat upon and rubbed, and the air still filled with that vulgar perfume. Suzi's mood instantly plummeted. Her precious car was back, but it was no longer her precious car. Fully prepared, she drove the car to the 4S shop to have all the interior replaced. She also wanted it disinfected inside and out. After dropping off the car, she wanted to take a taxi back, but couldn't hail one. She tried to call a Didi, but realized she had brought her TV remote instead of her phone. Penniless, how could Suzie get to work? The girl went to great lengths to get her beloved Hummer back, but the car was filled with vulgar smells. Unable to stand it, she immediately sent the car to the 4S shop. In her haste, she forgot to bring her phone. Just then, Suzie Ning saw her. He offered her a ride, but this man disgusted her even more than Xiao Jingjia. Besides, she couldn't get a taxi during rush hour, and her appointment with the law firm was approaching. Helpless, she got in the car and told him she was going to the cinema. The law firm she was going to was only 2 blocks from the cinema. She could walk there. Mu Rongxing, thinking she was with those delinquents again, advised her not to hang out with them. Suzie didn't even want to look at him after getting in the car. Third brother worries too much. If you don't have time, you can stop the car now. I can go by myself. Suzie Ning didn't know why, but he couldn't help but want to get close to her. And every time he saw her, he thought of Suzie. While he was distracted, he almost hit another car. A series of urgent honking brought him back to reality. Suzie Ning quickly turned the steering wheel. He couldn't afford to be distracted again. Suzie, however, thought he was exhausted from being with Xiao Jingjia, which was why he couldn't even hold the steering wheel steady. When they arrived at their destination, Suzie Ning wanted to walk her in. Suzie was instantly displeased. Was he ever going to leave her alone? Why was he clinging to her? She could only make an excuse, saying parking wasn't allowed here, hoping to get rid of him quickly. Suzie Ning told her to wait for him. He would come find her after parking. Suzie was speechless. She'd have to be crazy to wait for him. Her appointment with the law firm was almost up. She had to hurry. Just then, a hand grabbed her shoulder. Suzie screamed and turned around. Then, without hesitation, she ran. But the next second, her clothes were grabbed, and she felt herself being lifted into the air. Suzie struggled desperately. Mu Rongxing, let me go. The onlookers were stunned. They didn't expect young people these days to be so passionate. They suddenly felt like lemons. Mu Rongxing threw the girl into the car. He immediately ordered the driver to leave. Then he leaned over and pinned the girl beneath him. Suzie struggled with all her might. Mu Rongxing, you bastard. Let me go. Suzie couldn't help but side up Master's in a good mood today. But the next second, Suzie slapped the man hard. Suzie was shocked. Someone actually dared to hit him? He'd better think about where he wanted to be dragged off to later. This man has a passionate love. He loves his own sister because he knows that his current sister is actually his beloved woman. He forces his sister to stop seeing his third brother, but he had clearly promised her, yet he still secretly met with third brother. Furious, Mu Rongxing threw Suzie back into the car and pinned her down. Suzie repeatedly explained, I didn't have a date with him. I just happened to run into him on the street. He just gave me a ride to the cinema. But Mu Rongxing didn't believe her, staring at her fiercely. He then asked, is that really how it was? You weren't watching a movie together. Suzie retorted sarcastically, aren't you very capable? Go investigate then. I didn't even say a word to him on the way. Are you satisfied now? The man was truly terrified of losing her. He had lost her once and didn't want to lose her a second time. He softly called ZZ, wanting to comfort her, but Suzie pushed him away. Don't touch me. Mu Rongxing yanked at his tie and instructed the driver to go to a hotel. Suzie immediately panicked, unsure what he was planning to do at a hotel. Her hands stealthily searched. By now, Mu Rongxing was on top of her again. Suzie finally found what she was looking for. In the next second, she jabbed the pen towards his neck. Mu Rongxing, if you dare touch me, I'll kill you. Instead of being angry, the threatened man chuckled. He hadn't expected that even taking off his clothes wouldn't scare her. He draped his jacket over Muzi. Myzz is really so cute. Muzi froze, filled with doubt. Had she overthought things? The next second, Mu Rongxing told her he wouldn't touch her. He just wanted to take her to take a bath. In a short while, they arrived at the Huaca Royal Grand Hotel. But Muzi wouldn't believe it. Why would she take a bath for no reason? She wasn't some naive girl. The man pinched her chin and asked, "You're not a naive girl? Then who are you?" Muzi wondered if she was imagining things. She felt like he was hinting at something. She wondered if he had discovered something. Muzi suddenly became afraid. Had he discovered her secret? But the man wasn't referring to the bath as being for no reason. Instead, he asked her, after sitting in his car, "Don't you feel dirty?" Who knows if that Xiao Jingjia's did anything in the car. Muzi wholeheartedly agreed with this pervert that it's truly disgusting, so vile. How dare I sit in that seat? I need a shower now. Right now. Immediately. But he had brought her to the Huaca Royal Grand Hotel, a top-tier entertainment complex. It was Xinjiang's gold mine, a gathering place for the upper class, and a favorite haunt for paparazzi and reporters. If someone saw them checking into a hotel together, it would ruin her. But the man told her no one would see them. Muzi didn't believe him. How is that possible? After being forced in a third brother's car, she was forcibly pulled back into Mu Rongxing's car and pinned down. Now he wanted to take her to a hotel for a bath. She was afraid of being seen and having her reputation ruined. But he assured her it wouldn't happen until she saw the scene at the hotel entrance. She was stunned. 2 rows of security guards stood neatly, welcoming them. Mu Rongxing put his arm around her and led her inside. Muzi was taken aback. She hadn't expected him to take her to a private elevator. Although she knew Mu Rongxing had some influence, this was the Huaca Royal Grand Hotel. This belonged to the Hua family. The Hua family was the head of the 4 great families of the Huaya Empire. Their power was so vast, it couldn't be described with a simple term like wealthy. Presidents came and went, but the Hua family remained. Presidents changed every few years, but the Hua family remained firmly in place for decades. The taxes they paid annually exceeded more than half of the government's revenue. Therefore, every head of the Hua family was known as the Emperor in the Shadows. The new head of the Hua family, Huarong, was called Rongyi. Muzi asked him if he worked under Rongyi. Rongyi himself gently stroked her head and told her, "You could say that." Muzi hadn't realized he held such power within the Hua family. She wondered how she could escape his grasp. A short while later, Muzi finished showering. Thankfully, the man kept his word. He hadn't come to bother her. Until in the next second, he embraced her from behind. "You smell so good, Zizi." Muzi screamed in fright. "Get off me, Mu Rongxing, you beast." The driver outside was delivering a dress. Thinking to himself, he dares to play rough? Maybe the dress isn't needed. I can just clean up later. When Mu Rongxing opened the door, the slap mark on his face was clearly visible. The driver quickly lowered his head. He hadn't seen anything. Mu Rongxing instructed him to bring some snacks. After the door closed, he heard more heated arguing, and no wonder he's not afraid of her. Turns out he likes this type. He seemed to have discovered some incredible secret, never hitting back, never retorting. He knew this girl must be a feisty one. So, Mu Rongxing, sporting 2 large slap marks, drove Muzi home. Despite being slapped, he was overjoyed because his ZZ was becoming more lively. It meant nourishing her soul was working. Muzi thought, persistence is victory. She just wanted to get home quickly so she could escape his clutches. So, the moment the car stopped, she fled like the wind. Jiang Huan, from a scholarly family, was falsely accused of raping his student. No lawyer was willing to take his case, and even the best firm suggested a settlement. Helpless, he went to the Mu family home to seek Xiao Jingjia's help. Xiao Jingjia happened to be out due to a sudden demolition. Mu Zinning promised to take him to visit Xiao Jingjia at the East Gate tomorrow. Muzi overheard their conversation as she returned home. She was shocked. Jiang Huan, from such a respectable family, would he really need to resort to rape? The next second, her foot caught on a stone, and she stumbled towards them. Jiang Huan hadn't met Muzi before and didn't recognize her. Mu Zinning was taken aback. After leaving her without a word at the cinema earlier that morning, Muzi had changed her clothes and returned home. He couldn't figure out what was going on with her. Mu Zinning introduced Muzi to Jiang Huan. Muzi reviewed the information she knew. Jiang Huan was currently accused of rape, with no law firm willing to defend him, reduced to seeking help from Xiao Jingjia. Meanwhile, Muzi wanted to attend the Grey Academy. Given Jiang Huan's character, he was likely wrongly accused. His mother was a member of Grey Academy's board of directors, holding significant influence over school affairs and the allocation of judicial exam quotas. If she solved his problems, applying for a judicial exam quota would be a breeze. So, she recommended the Mingjun law firm to Jiang Huan. But Jiang Huan dismissed her, thinking she was just a child who didn't understand legal matters. Mu Zinning had never even heard of Mingjun law firm and inwardly scoffed at Mu Zi's presumptuousness, thinking she was making a fool of herself. He told Mu Zi that Jiang Huan had already engaged Roman, the top firm in the industry, and that Xiao Jingjia would also be helping. Mu Zi couldn't help but think, you know nothing. Knowing Xiao Jingjia's nature, he wouldn't actually take the case or help him, but would only advise Jiang Huan to pay for a settlement. She wished Jiang Huan wouldn't believe him. Instead, he just saw her as a naive child. Mu Zi anxiously chased after Jiang Huan. She knew Xiao Jingjia wouldn't sincerely help him, but would only urge a settlement. She was frustrated that Jiang Huan didn't believe her, dismissing her words as childish. Mu Zinning scolded Mu Zi, telling her not to slander Xiao Jingjia, just to recommend another lawyer. Mu Zi had worked with Xiao Jingjia for 3 years and knew him all too well. Xiao Jingjia didn't need her slander. He would undoubtedly ruin Jiang Huan's reputation for life. She was the top prosecutor in Xinjiang City, yet no one believed her when she tried to take on a case, seeing her as a clueless child. But she couldn't stand by and watch Jiang Huan's life be destroyed by false rape accusations. So, she told him loudly, Mr. Jiang, the reason no lawyer is willing to accept your case is undoubtedly because the chances of winning are slim. That's why everyone is suggesting a settlement. Mu Zinning scolded her, but Mu Zi didn't stop. She continued, however, settling is equivalent to admitting guilt. Your reputation will be ruined, and your parents will also be implicated. Therefore, Mr. Jiang, this case cannot be settled. It must be brought to court and judged by the law. Jiang Huan was stunned. He pinched his nose, amazed by the child's audacity. Mu Zinning knew that if the case was lost, Jiang Huan would be ruined. He told Mu Zi not to interfere. This was also why Mu Zi suggested Mingjun law firm to Jiang Huan. Famous lawyers were undoubtedly skilled, but not necessarily the best fit. But Jiang Huan didn't believe Mu Zi. He just wanted to go home and figure things out. He dismissively said he would consider Mu Zi's suggestion and contact the firm later. However, as he left, he didn't ask for her contact information. Mu Zi knew he was just brushing her off and felt disappointed. However, she figured she would offer her help after the Jiang family had hit a dead end. That would be more impactful. As she turned to leave, Mu Zinning called her back. He wanted to talk to her privately, but Mu Zi had nothing to say to him. Mu Zinning blamed her for being too impulsive. It was fortunate Jiang Huan was easygoing, otherwise she would have offended him. Mu Zi just wanted to get away from him. Who knew if there were surveillance cameras around? What if that pervert Mu Rongqing saw them, talking alone? It was better to leave quickly. As she turned, Mu Zinning grabbed her hand. Mu-Zi, wait. Mu Zi instantly slapped his hand away. Don't touch me. Mu Zinning was bewildered by her strong reaction. He asked, have I offended you somehow? She had been pushed into a lake and nearly drowned, yet he wanted her to drop the matter. She wanted to study at Gray Academy, but he encouraged her to attend a regular school. Now, she was trying to help Jiang Huan, and he was interfering again. He even had the nerve to ask if he had offended her. Mu Zi really wanted to ask him how thick his face was. Had he offended her? Mu Zinning guessed she might still be resentful over the Mu Lin incident, which was why she insisted on Suzi's pinkon. The thought of Suzie made Mu Zinning feel a pang of loss. Mu Zinning scolded Mu Zi. You know your third sister-in-law loved that Hummer most when she was alive. You actually used that recording to blackmail Mu Lin just to spite him. ZZ, you're being too willful. Mu Zi clenched her fists angrily, no? Third sister-in-law would thank me. Better to give her beloved car to her sister-in-law than let some other woman defile it. Mu Zinning was heartbroken. That's not how it is. Xiao Jingjia was your third sister-in-law's most capable assistant and her best friend. She occasionally let Xiao Jingjia drive it when she was alive. Moziz Anjir flattered. She slammed her fist against the wall and demanded, who told you that? Did Xiao Jingjia say it herself? She told him Suzi's most capable assistant was Yang, and her best friend was Jiang Ci. Who does Xiao Jingjia think she is? Mu Zinning didn't know why she knew so much about Suzie. Could it all be a coincidence? He didn't understand what connection there was between Mu Zi and Suzie. Mu Zi suddenly realized she'd almost given herself away. Impulsiveness truly was a devil. Why had she told him so much? The next second, she thought of a way out. It wasn't a secret. Anyone could find out if they tried. That if you want to delude yourself into helping third sister-in-law take care of her so-called best friend, that's your business. I can't control you. Mu Zi told him directly, I hate you, and I look down on you. Please don't talk to me again. Muzi rubbed her injured hand. Don't touch me again. You disgust me. She then turned and left without hesitation. Mu Zinning wanted to tell Muzi that it wasn't like that, but he couldn't get the words out. Meanwhile, a hand reached out from the nearby bamboo grove. The opportunity has arrived. There's no such thing as brotherly love in top-tier families, only scheming and infighting. The older sister has always used the younger sister. She's the one who makes mistakes, and she's the one who gets punished. Mu Lin had been staying home and behaving ever since their father had disciplined him. His older sister approached him and asked, Mu Zi got you beaten last time. Do you want to get back at her now? Mu Lin certainly wanted revenge on Mu Zi, but their father had warned him that he wouldn't clean up his messes anymore and that he wasn't allowed to bother Mu Zi again. But his sister told him, Father won't blame you this time. Mu Zi is walking right into it. We just need to nudge her a little. Meanwhile, Mu Rongqing received a call from the feng shui master. He had found a soul-nourishing artifact and was bringing it to young Master Mu now. Mu Rongqing sent someone to pick up Mr. Du. Mr. Du explained that the divine duck was a rare find, and that Steward Wang should be very careful. A short while later, Mu Rongqing and two others looked at this rare creature. They lifted the red cloth to reveal the divine duck sleeping. Steward Wang was shocked. The 8 million yuan three-eyed divine duck looked just like an ordinary crow. Mr. Du had gone to great lengths to find this duck. Steward Wang, however, thought he was being ripped off. Divine duck my ass. It's just a chicken. This swindler. He inwardly cursed the con man. Mu Rongqing reached out to touch the divine duck, but Mr. Du stopped him. Young master, don't touch it. This divine duck hasn't chosen its master yet. Once a crow chooses its master, it will serve only that person for life. Mu Rongqing sighed with relief. As long as we raise this bird, Suzi's soul won't leave her body so easily. She'll truly come back to life. Mr. Du told Mu Rongqing, yes, this phenomenon of the soul leaving the body is called soul flight. It's especially likely to happen when encountering situations similar to death. Now that we have this three-eyed divine duck, in 3 to 6 years, the comatose person will be indistinguishable from a living person. Mu Rongqing was overjoyed that in 3 years, Mu Zi will be 19. 19 is old enough to get married. He blushed at the thought, and just then, the divine duck suddenly opened its eyes. It let out a sharp cry, as if protesting on behalf of its future master. What are you thinking about, you blockhead? Don't even think about defiling my future master. Mu Rongqing and the other two were stunned. They hadn't expected the crow's cry to sound like an air raid siren. But Mu Rongqing wasn't angry. Instead, he chuckled. Interesting indeed. If I just take it back, Zizi definitely won't keep it. I have to think of a way to make her willingly accept the divine duck and raise it for her.